All watching on YouTube, just go to youtube.com and search 98.5 The Sports Hub. Again, full show tonight. We have guests, we have sound, and we will get into the press conference today for Mike Vrabel, introduced as the new head coach of the New England Patriots. That's where we will start tonight. And the phone number here is 617-779-0985. I will bow down. I've been fighting the Ben Johnson to New England battle as being the next head coach. And I will, just for the night, I will bend the knee. I will bend the knee. Here's why I'll bend the knee for today. I think everything went right. They got their guy. It happened quick. He wants to be here. Sounds like money wasn't an issue. He's going to have some power. Also sounds like Elliott Wolf will be in the mix as well. But at least today, that was something we haven't seen here in over a year. We saw a guy up there who knew how to talk, knew how to handle himself, and had expectations for the team. He actually was transparent about what he wanted. And we just haven't seen that in a long time. So that was at least refreshing to me today. And a lot of people are excited about Mike Vrabel because of the player that he was, some of the success he had elsewhere. But he was available this year. He was available. Now, Mike Vrabel steps into New England without the pressure of replacing Bill Belichick. And this was my take for tonight. Why is it when you move on from Tom Brady, you don't have somebody else ready to go to be the long-term quarterback? You have Cam Newton for a year, and then you go out and draft Mac Jones. When it comes to the head coach, you basically had something in writing to make Gerard Mayo the next head coach without a search, and he lasted 15 months. That's it. Did he even last 15 months? I think he lasted 12 or less than 12. Whatever. I hate the thought of replacing someone because of pressure. And I feel like the Patriots could have just done this with Vrabel a year ago. So I don't need someone to explain to me, well, Joe, they had something in the contract written for Gerard Mayo. Duh! They could have bought it out. If they wanted Mike Vrabel then, they could have done it. So this collaborative approach and this new hard-ass guy coming in, oh, a lot has changed in 12 months here. It worked out for the Patriots. They got Mike Vrabel. They got him. Me personally, I would rather the offensive-minded coach with the quarterback under a rookie deal. I want that. I prefer that. The Patriots went back to comfort and went back to what they know. So, what I saw today, I liked it. I was impressed, and I was satisfied. I was satisfied with what I saw. But I stand by it. When Ben Johnson signs somewhere else, or whoever goes to the Cowboys, or whatever, I'm going to be comparing it week in and week out, just like we compared Drake May to Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. Did the Patriots get it right, or is it just comfortable for you and the Crafts? And the whole why didn't you last year question, it is because of the deal with Mayo. They could have bought him out. I hope it was worth the gamble because you wasted a season. You lost my season tickets. Who else are you going to lose? Couple other things to throw in there. The Raiders never brought Mike Vrabel in for an interview. I guess Vrabel told Tom Brady, I'm going to end up back in New England. Also, reportedly, he was never going to the Jets, so the Jets got used. It felt better than Gerard Mayo today. It felt right. I will still question and compare to the other coaches, but it certainly feels like the Patriots are back on track after today. It's just hard for me not to think this could have happened a year ago. We'll lead it off there at 617-779-0985. 985. Again, we are on YouTube tonight. I'll read your chats. We do have Skaz here. We got Jake, Big C in the house tonight, helping us out as well. And certainly we'll continue to take your calls here. We will talk with Karen Guregian later on tonight. Got shouted out at the press conference today. So we'll talk to her in about an hour or so. And, the Celtics fans are reaching out to me. And Skaz and I worked the game on Friday night. And, well, let's just say that we had our eye on last night's game when we shouldn't have. So is there concern for Celtics fans? We'll talk to StoolGreenie later on in the show tonight. You don't want to miss that. Again, we're here until 10 o'clock. I'm Joe Murray. Mike Vrabel, officially the head coach of the New England Patriots. How do you feel about it? We'll take your calls coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
having the communication, and allowing him to find us great players, and then for us to come to an agreement about how we add them, I think is something that will be critical. And again, looking forward. It's just been a busy morning, so have to be able to get down and see all those personnel, scouts and everybody in that building. Like, it's important to me to get to know them, because they're going to be the ones that are out on the road trying to find us players, and seeing them at the Senior Bowl and be able to sit down and have dinner with them and get to know them, the ones that I don't already know.
Full show tonight. And we'll line up your phone call, 617-779-0985. A lot of you all were very active on social media with me this weekend. I actually had a weekend off. I wasn't here on a Sunday, if you could believe that, for a Patriots game. I actually would have entertained a playoff game. I think we all would here. But I had the whole weekend off, so I watched every football game. I heard every report about Mike Vrabel. I heard everything. I also heard from a lot of you. When Mike Vrabel signed, there was a lot of blah, a lot of blang going on this week. So you guys got what you wanted. You have Mike Vrabel, the new head coach of the New England Patriots. He's going to be tough, and he's going to work and scratch every patch of grass that there is. Whoa, this guy's giving me a weird look on that one. So I hope you're all happy. I am today, just from the way it sounded. It was better than Mayo. It felt right. I'll still question the hire. I'll compare him against other coaches. But the Patriots are back on track. You just heard the clip coming back from break there regarding Elliott Wolf. Vrabel mentions Elliott Wolf. In his first answer, says he developed an inside joke with him over the weekend about the type of players they want. Good ones. Ooh, does that mean fast guys fast? or what was some of the other ones? But when they say good ones, does that mean, you don't want fast, but you want good ones, good players? And by the way, it was Matt Groh who said that. But still, is that the inside joke?
Elliott's going to laugh. I'm going to say good ones.
So you get it? Good ones. You know what? Maybe we should have a list, Skaz, this year around the draft. Maybe we'll have, what we think are the good ones, right? And then what they actually draft. Maybe we can see if they make our list.
See, Joe, I took that quote as him saying, we need good players because all the ones you've drafted aren't
stink.
Good. Yeah, they all stink.
I've got that one too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the inside joke. Hey, man, I'm going to keep you, but I'm going to tell you who we drafted. So, again, this Elliott Wolf thing, though, there are people that really stick to it, though. And listen, Vrabel's running the show, everybody. He's going to have to earn it, obviously, a little bit. But this is what I just saw coming over, and I threw this in Slack to you guys. Phil Perry. It's my understanding that Robert Kraft has been impressed by the new system Elliott Wolf has tried to import in last year. He's hopeful that the system will bear more fruit with additional time. It's like green bananas, right?
Joe, what's the system? What system is he impressed by?
It's a grading system. So here's the deal.
Drake May, good. Everybody else, bad.
Yeah, I don't know how it works.
By?
Like, I would be like, suck. Like, that's why we have to come up with our own list.
I was really impressed that Elliott Wolf was able to identify that the bad players he drafted are bad.
Yes. Wow. Is that called accountability? I think it might be.
Joe, I don't think so. I think that's just you suck.
You suck. I'm taking over. You're my coffee boy. Is that it? Because he's got his buddy coming in from the Giants.
Very impressed with the system. Very impressed.
But for real, though, I asked Bedard about this, and I don't blame Bedard because he's a reporter. But I said, hey, do you have anything on the report system for Elliott Wolf? This is on the final game of the year because I don't know when I'll be able to personally talk to Greg. But he didn't know anything about it, so I hope he wrote that down like I got to find out about grading system. Because what is the grading system? By the way, Skaz, I got into it with somebody about Washington receivers this year. I thought McMillan was always the 2, and I thought Rome Odunze was 1, and Polk was always the 3rd. McMillan got hurt. That's why Polk got more play. He also played inside, outside. He did a lot of things. McMillan struggled last night in a playoff game. I cut him slack because it's a playoff game. You know what I mean? Like, that's tough. But Jalen Polk being a no-show, that's him. And then Roma Dunze wasn't what everyone expected, a lot of yards. It's just that you got the wrong Washington guy. And I just look at everybody, and today it sounds like Mike Vrabel's, if you're not part of the system, if you're not going to work hard, and quite frankly, if you're not bought in, you're out. And I think a lot of the guys that have been here that they drafted would be out. Like, would it be Tyquan Thornton until week 8 or KJ Osborne until week 10? No. So we talked about cleaning everything out. It sounds like that's what Vrabel's going to do. Which, by the way, real quick, the reason why I wanted Ben Johnson was because he'll work with the quarterback. He would get the most out of Drake May working with him. The Patriots do not like to spend money. They probably will this season because they have to. But long term, isn't it about your quarterback playing at an elite level? And then whatever's around you, that quarterback makes better? That helps the organization spend less money. I think now with Vrabel here, Vrabel's happy that he has the quarterback, but now they need everything else. And are you going to get the most out of Drake May in this situation? That's my take. I don't think he is. They do have to bring somebody in that will, though, offensive coordinator. And I'll tell you, and I want to get into this on the other side. You see what Cliff Kingsbury did yesterday? I thought Cliff Kingsbury was outstanding. You didn't? See, I thought it was Quinn. I thought Quinn was horrible. Going for it on all those fourth downs, that's on him.
Yeah, well, the play design is on Kingsbury, though, and like 2 of the first 3 where let's get Jaden Daniels killed was Cliff Kingsbury's fourth down play.
Well, I think he handled it.
It worked. It worked later in the game, but
didn't it?
Not the first 2 times.
See, here's the deal. Do the Patriots have anybody that will at least allow their quarterback to do that?
No, they told us that they told us, then they retracted, then they told us.
Do you get what I'm saying, though?
At
least Kingsbury, if he was like,
he'd be like, yeah, I'm trying to get Drake May to run out there, where they're telling us, well, we weren't protecting him. Maybe we were thinking about protecting him. So I guess, yeah.
Do you see the different philosophies, though?
Not worried about protecting Jaden Daniels last night.
Blood on the face,
Yeah, he looked. Jaden Daniels looked like a stud last night. He was the best player on the field, I thought.
Dude, we'll get into it on the other
Bobby
side.
Wagner turning back the clock.
We'll get into that one in just a little bit here. But let's hear what else we got for Vrabel. I know he talked about entitlement. What else did he have?
Bad football teams, Joe?
Let's hear that one.
Our goals will be to win the AFC East, to host home playoff games, and to compete for championships. That's what it's going to take. And what the timeline is, just like we say with injuries, we're not going to put a timeline on an injury, and we're certainly not going to put a timeline on what those will be. But that's going to be the expectations, and we're going to work like crazy, and we're going to compete like crazy. We're going to give the players a plan, and they're going to form an identity on the field and the way that we're going to play and play for each other that they're going to be proud of. And we're not going to, we just want to be good enough to take advantage of bad football. That's where we're going to start. And that's what I've tried to tell all the players is right now, I don't know if we're good enough to take advantage of bad football. I'm not sure. We're undefeated right now, but if we can just work towards taking advantage of bad football and being good enough to when somebody makes a mistake, capitalizing on it, and not being the ones that make the mistakes, and focusing on the little things and the details and helping them do their job better, that's a great place to start.
You know what, though? I kind of agree with it. Where do you start with this mess? Again, I've been anti-Vrabel. I have been. I thought that was a good answer. You got to start somewhere, right? Well, why don't we start with everyone else who sucks? Why don't we take advantage of that? Because isn't that what Belichick always got praised for? Oh, it's checkers, not for him. So, he has to start somewhere. The team has a talent issue. They also have some good talent where if they just tighten things up a little bit, they'd be better. I don't think he's wrong on that one. So if a starting point, don't suck as bad as the other team. It's so easy, right? It's so easy to say. But I don't blame him for saying it because It's almost like the safest answer you could give. Everyone, and the funny thing is all the people who love Vrabel are like, yeah, beat the suck, right? Beat the suck. What else? He talked about entitlement because I'm sure there's some players that are entitled.
And we're going to earn the right to be here every day. We're going to remove entitlement from our football team. We're going to get everything that we've earned from the head coach to the position coaches, all the way down to the players. And we're going to earn the right to be here every single day.
I do think there's some entitled people in that locker room. Kyle Duggar this year reminded me of someone entitled. Got his new contract, sucked on the football field, and no-showed. That was entitlement. I'm wondering about Ramondre Stevenson a little bit too. Like, does he deserve the start even though he's been told he's not the starter? That one I'll never forgive. By the way, real quick, Jake, you can grab this one if you'd like. I am not over the Gerard Mayo stuff. I am not just going to sweep it under the rug like it never happened because you all wanted to. The Crafts wanted to. It's hard for me to sit here and just not remember what Gerard Mayo just did, what he did to the organization, what he did to the roster, what he did to maybe some of the guys on the actual football field. That guy might have set the organization back, and I blame Kraft for it all, but we can't just sweep it under the rug today. It wasn't mentioned at all. They did mention Bill Belichick, thankfully, as a mentor, but not once was Mayo mentioned today, and what I mean by that is last year sucked. The year before that was worse, but last year was terrible. We shouldn't forget about it. We should still question why they hired this guy. Just because Mike Vrabel's here and you know him and he talks well at a press conference, we shouldn't think they're going to win 9 games again. Like, I don't want to forget about what happened last year. And they want to make a fast decision. We want to make a fast decision. They wanted to make a fast decision because they don't want to remember what last year was. They want to bury it under the rug like it never happened. And unfortunately, I'm not going to let that happen. Let's go to the phones here at 617-779-0985. Charlie, you're on the air. What's up, Charlie?
Yeah, I'm live.
You're live.
Joe.
Yo.
Listen, someone really needs to explain to me why on earth Mike Vrabel, who is starting from scratch, absolute rock bottom with this team, would want any semblance of Bill Belichick's fingerprints on his staff. And I'm talking about Josh McDaniels, okay? Because you know that 2 years from now, when they start having success, we're going to start to hear from people like that fraud Mike Lombardi that Josh McDaniels was Bill's guy and Bill brought him into the league and all this nonsense, okay? I think it's insanity, Joe, that Vrabel would want the specter of Belichick's ghost hanging over his head, and that's what McDaniels represents. He has to be his own man and do it his way with his guys. I'm pro bringing him in. I understand why you wouldn't want to bring him in, but we got to start fresh. And it bothers me. I want to move forward and not backwards.
Thank you, bud. Let's bring in Mike Vrabel, who played here for 8 years, right? The one thing I will say is this. Skaz, as a young Joe broadcaster, back in my Connecticut School of Broadcasting days in 2007, I remember when the Sports Hub became a thing in like 09 or whatever. I was doing my own show called The Sports Blast. And some of the real lazy topics, because the Patriots were so good, was who's going to take over for Bill Belichick. And you would pull out the Belichick tree, and everyone would say Bill O'Brien, Josh McDaniels, Romeo Crennel. You know, you'd get all those names. Maybe Charlie Weiss would come back someday. You know, Chad O'Shea's really rising up the ranks right now. You know, Eric Mangini, he's going to be great. Let me tell you about this guy. And Dean Pease and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And everyone finally said, it's Bill O'Brien. That's the guy. That's the guy. You know, Brian Flores ended up getting a job from the tree, right? There's been a lot of guys from the Belichick tree that have been hired, and they've all failed. Well, Mike Vrabel doesn't come from the Bill Belichick tree. He only played for him. He doesn't come from it. But I will tell you, years ago, when I started out in this business, that was a conversation constantly. And in the end, could the next long-term coach of the New England Patriots be someone not from the Bill Belichick tree? Go figure that, huh? Because for years, it was always about the successor to Bill will be tied to Bill. Is Mike Vrabel essentially tied to Bill? Was that what today's press conference was? Using a lot of the Belichickisms or whatever you want to call them? That was such a sports radio topic 15 years ago, or whatever it was. Such a sports topic. Maybe the long-term answer is Mike Vrabel. We'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. We're on YouTube as well. I see guys in there. Tom G's in there. Brian Griffin. Rob Schwartz. Tom. Again, some young power guy doesn't want to listen to me anymore. And I said, you know what, dude? KB's in there. I said, you know what, dude? Thanks for listening. We'll hit the headline real quick. There is a big football game tonight as well, a playoff game, and we'll have more on Mike Vrabel and what's his thoughts on Drake May. And I did want to compare Drake May last night to what we saw from Jaden Daniels. We'll do all that after the headlines. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Patriots introduced Mike Vrabel as their new head coach today, the 16th in team history. Says the Patriots want to take advantage of bad football, and he left it with, just because those banners hang, it's not going to give us an advantage on the field, but it's going to give us a blueprint. Football continues tonight, NFL playoffs. The Rams-Vikings game has been moved to Arizona due to the wildfires in L.A. The game will be played in Arizona tonight. Kickoff's at 8 o'clock. Minnesota, 2.5-point favorites at the moment. No Celtics or Bruins tonight, so that's good. So you get a full show.
again. We'll see you in.
That was his quarterback on that old school ground and pound with Derrick Henry back when he was with the Titans. Here's another thing I don't like about Vrabel. Finished below 500 in 2022 and 2023. We know about the fallout he had with ownership. He went 41 and 24 his first 4 seasons, but he took over a team. He went 13 and 21 over the next 2 seasons with his guys, his team, his coaches. So, if you want to look at a positive here, maybe Mike Vrabel can turn this thing around and be successful. But if you look at his body of work, once it was his guys and everybody in place, they were under 500. Just saying. It might be good for a rebuild. How is it long term? And, the numbers are bad defensively. Points per game, third down. They were terrible this year. Defensively, not good. But I did think he said some pretty good things about Drake May. Skaz, if you have that back there, let's hear Mike Vrabel talking about Drake May.
I'm surprised they didn't let you go first, Karen. They didn't let me. I would have let you go first.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Congratulations. I was wondering if you have yet had a conversation with Drake May, and also what your impressions were of his rookie season, watching from afar.
Karen, I'm smiling, Karen, because I know I look a lot older than I did when I played here, and Karen looks exactly the same way.
Oh, by the way,
she stood in front of me in a locker room.
Guys, we will have Karen on the show tonight. She's going to join us in less than an hour. All right, so greeting by Karen to Mike. Okay, what else we got?
She did when she stood in front of me in a locker room. That's amazing, Karen.
Thank you.
All right, whatever you're on, I need some of that. I need it. Yes, I've had conversations with players on our team, and who that's been with. That I'm going to try to do through the next couple days. Try to reach out to every player and the ones that are here rehabbing, and that come through here, and the ones that I'll call and talk and ask what I can do to help and where they're at in their off season, and how we move forward. Everybody got here and will get here through a different avenue, right? Maybe we drafted him, maybe we signed him as a free agent, maybe we will sign him as a free agent. But none of that will matter. None of that.
Nah, forget it. It doesn't matter anymore. What's it going to be like with Drake May, bro? What makes you want to come to the Patriots? A great quarterback. Okay, great. What are you going to do to help out that quarterback? In time, we'll figure all that out. Actually, to be honest with you, what did Mike Vrabel give you today? Guys, did he give us anything? Because we were all together. We're all slacking each other. Oh, he said this, he said that. Know what I like that he said today? He had to go outside the organization to find out what things were like. He had to go outside. Now he's back. So he can bring some of those things with him.
I did like that. I know Jake pointed out in Slack earlier today, too, where he said, PhD. I got a PhD in football at every stop I've been to. That's, I think, something fans have been kind of clamoring for, is the Patriots have been so insulated for the last, 20 years, but, the last 5 where it was all Belichick, and then Mayo's a Kraft guy. It's another, insulated move. So is Vrabel a Patriot? Yes. Patriot Hall of Famer, all that. But at least his perspective, his coaching perspective, doesn't seem to be as insulated as what we've been used to. And you hope that, continues. I agree with the caller we had earlier tonight. I'm out on Josh McDaniels. I want nothing to do with Josh McDaniels. I think that is a backwards move. I don't think that helps Drake May. I think that's not the offense you want Drake May running. I get why, fans like it, because the name, Josh McDaniels, when he was our OC, we were good. Well, yeah, you had Tom Brady, so it's a different scenario. I'm out on Josh McDaniels, out on doing that. But yeah, I thought Vrabel's command, you mentioned it in the opening segment, it just felt different. It felt like a leader. It felt like a real football team. There was no, Thundercat jokes and, Mac Jones hanging around in the background, that uncertainty. I was a little surprised May wasn't there. Maybe that was a directive from the team, or who knows, maybe he's on vacation already. But overall, I would say a good day for the Patriots, but no, nothing groundbreaking. He sounded exactly how I expected him to sound. He's well put together, has a plan, and now we get to see if it works out.
We will see if it works out. We will hear what Bill Belichick had to say. We'll do that coming up in just a little bit. But let's talk to Wally. He's in Dorchester. What's up, Wally?
How we doing, Joe and everybody?
How you doing?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on you keep saying you wish we had Ben Johnson or an offensive coach. Our defense is in shambles also, and I think we need Vrabel more for that than the offense. I think Drake May will be fine, and I think our offense needs just as much help as our defense.
Bro, they need a lot of help, man.
They do, but Vrabel can certainly straighten out our offense. Last year we were
what
top
makes you say
10.
that?
This past year we're at the bottom of the barrel.
Real quick, Wally.
So
how does Mike Vrabel help the offense?
Well, he won 3 Super Bowl championships with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Everybody keeps putting Belichick down.
Hang on.
Yeah, it was all Brady, but
him winning 3 championships will help the offense?
no, just his knowledge of how Brady worked and how that offense worked. Yes, I really believe that. And everybody keeps knocking Belichick. The guy's the greatest coach ever. None of these players would have even come to New England if it wasn't for Belichick and Brady as a tandem. So Belichick had a lot to do with it. He's the one that groomed these guys.
Thanks, Wally. Skez, how does Mike Vrabel help the offense this year?
Maybe he suits up to play tight end a couple times in the red zone. I don't know. The way Mike Vrabel helps the offense is he hires the right guy. Is that he makes a decision. Something we've kind of gotten upset at the Patriots in the past for, not making decisions or things falling
He'll
into
have
their lap.
transparency and direct orders and stuff like that.
Exactly. So
you're gonna know, which we'll hear from Taylor Lewan a little bit too. But players are going to know, right? If you suck, you're going to know about it. If you need to be, but how does he help the offense again? Just curious.
He won Super Bowls, Joe.
Is anyone following the breadcrumbs here with me? How does Mike Vrabel help the offense?
He won Super Bowls with Tom Brady, Joe. Come on.
I mean, I wanted to be positive today. I wanted to be positive. It was very easy to hand the ball off to Derrick Henry, right? He's great. It's kind of good to throw the ball to A.J. Brown, even though he's reading his book last night. Looks like he's bored, huh?
He was reading a book on excellence, Joe. He was trying to better himself.
No, but I mean, he wants the ball, right? Do you think I'm just curious. Do you think that there are potential players who played with Vrabel before that might want to come to New England with more opportunity? That's how he can help the offense. That's it. That's all I got.
I'm sure the Eagles would be happy to give up A.J. Brown, too. I mean, why not?
I mean, sure. But there are free agents. There are. Simmons, you like him? Remember? Big boy up in the middle, right? He's available. DeAndre Hopkins, remember? They tried that before. There are guys that have been with Vrabel that might want to come here. So that's how he can help the offense. But as far as what he does and his knowledge, no. He needs a guy. He very much needs a guy. All right, we'll take. Oh, man, the calls. This is Jake's first time. No, you've screened calls before? Bro, you see some of these things already? Some of these ideas? This is wild. I already see some of these on the list. I can't believe this is what people are really thinking. Anyways. All right, well, hey, let's hear what Bill Belichick had to say. We'll do that next on the Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Jake, who was an intern on the midday show, was helping us out before they sent him. Well, he went back off to school, actually. And now he's home and he's helping us out. So if you're on YouTube, you can see videos of the night show, which, was hard for me to do, and Skaz, because it's just us. So we love an extra hand. So thank you, Jake, for helping us out. But we were all slacking about this, and Skaz asked the question, do you think... I'm laughing because when you ask a question, sometimes it just answers itself. Do you think that Mike Vrabel back can help heal the relationship with Belichick and the Patriots? And I thought about it, right? Because Vrabel did acknowledge him, talked about him being a mentor, and talked about, when he was a free agent coach this year, and, he talked about Belichick. But, man, you talk about him last year, and it was like, don't do that. Ooh, no. But it does sound like the Patriots were petty today. Oh, I said I'd bend the knee. Oh, I didn't even make it an hour, Skez. We don't have to play it right now. You want to play it now? I don't know if you got it. But the Patriots did this video for Mike Vrabel. You all remember it. Remember he went Hall of Fame and all that. And basically one of the clips is Vrabel saying, great coaching, great ownership and leadership, blah, blah, blah. But when it got released today about Mike Vrabel, something seemed to be missing. Can we hear that, Skaz?
Would you like to hear the original, Joe? Or
yes.
Okay, let's hear
give me the original. So
but I also want you not to take this organization for granted. I've been a lot of places. This is a special place with great leadership, great fans, great direction, great coaching. Enjoy it. It's not like this everywhere. Thank you very much.
Okay. That was good, right? What was the one posted on social media today there?
And we get through the snow and every memory that comes back right now. So I want to thank you, fans, for the opportunity to stand here today in front of you. But I also want you not to take this organization for granted. I've been a lot of places. This is a special place with great leadership, great fans, great direction.
Ability to stand in front of a room.
Huh? Where'd the great coaching go?
Weird how that one got left out.
Where did the great coaching go? Oh, they're so petty. So petty. So, Skaz, to answer your question, no, it's not going to heal the relationship between Belichick and the Patriots. They went so far to cut great coaching out of a clip. So far. They're more petty than Tom, damn it. 617-779-0985. Let's talk to Justin. Justin and Lynn.
Hey, Joe.
Hey.
I have a thing I want to have your thoughts about it. Your thoughts. I want to see a big culture built on this team, and also they need some offensive weapons before we can talk about results on the field. We need to see a culture.
That's right. He's going to bring a culture first, Justin, and then he'll find an offensive coach. Go check out Justin. He does a podcast. It's called The Sports Wrap-Up. I was on it. Does a good job. Go check that out. Oh, the Patriots are so petty. Can you believe them? Anyways, I wanted to let you hear some of that Taylor Lewan stuff. We'll get to that. We will get to that. But the Patriots have an identity, or do they? We'll do that coming up next after the headlines. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's home for sports.
Saka cross, they scored. Porzingis, point a shot, rebound, score.
WPCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
All right, the Patriots introduced Mike Vrabel today as their new head coach. The 16th in history. Mike Vrabel asked about Drake May's potential today. It will be critical that he grows into his second year, and I know that he will, is the quote from Mike Vrabel. Patriots, of course, well, Elliot Wolf's going to stick around. You know who's not sticking around? Mike McCarthy. He's out. Where will he end up? The Cowboys now have a coach opening. Deion Sanders listed as one of the favorites to take over. Kellen Moore actually the favorite in that one. Football tonight. Vikings, Rams, 8 p.m. kickoff in Arizona. Again, the game was moved to Arizona due to the wildfires in Los Angeles. Headlines, they are brought to you by the Commuter Rail. Ride unlimited all weekend with a $10 holiday weekend pass, which includes Martin Luther King Day on Monday. Get your 3-day pass now with the M-Ticket app. I'm Joe Murray, your next update in 30 minutes.
Here we go.
Boom. I win. Boom.
Yeah. It's a buddy. We've got a passion for Boston sports. Get angry. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I think the best thing he said, too, is like you had to do it your way. You had to find out to do it on your own because a lot of people don't like the carryover from the past. Like you have to be new. You have to be innovative. But I don't see any appeal in you when I watch your teams and the way you get your teams ready. You're different.
Well, I mean, I think we're different personalities, but if you ask that, hopefully we're prepared and we're ready for, to execute in critical situations, and hopefully that our special teams can set the table for the offense and defense and be violent on special teams and change field position and offensively take care of the football and defensively, be great in the red zone, get off the field on third down, cause turnovers, all the things that I remember. Now how we get to that may be different than what built it, but I also know that there was flexibility there. There was ability to adjust and adapt. So, that would be, a great compliment if some of our teams did those things.
All right, hour 2 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Skaz is here. Jake, we got a hell. Oh, it's great. If you're on YouTube, what's up to everybody on YouTube? If you go to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube, you'll see content all day long from all the shows. And Jake is back there uploading stuff. So if you missed anything in the first hour, just go right back there. You can also go to 985thesportshub.com. See everybody in the chat as well. Mike Vrabel, new head coach, which means new philosophy, maybe? Maybe. I am kind of curious what type of offense they'll run or what type of team that they'll be. I saw Ben Volen tweet this out this week, but the Patriots have a legit coach, an exciting young quarterback, and the number 4 pick in the draft, and the most salary cap space in the NFL. You don't have to squint anymore to see the path back to success, and I agree. Again, I look at it and say an offensive-minded coach working with Drake May, get the most out of Drake May so it can help everyone else improve. That's the way I look at it. That's the way of the NFL. Look at the Super Bowl winning coaches. What side of the football are they on for the most part? I just feel like that's the best way to save money in the organization. Look at Buffalo. Buffalo has moved on from running backs. They just moved on from Stephon Diggs. Khalil Shakir elevated. They drafted Keon Coleman. James Cook all of a sudden looks like Dalvin Cook, right? It's just they built it around their quarterback who made everybody else better. So I feel like the Patriots, they really need to match Drake May up with someone that can make everybody else better, unless they assume that, Mike Vrabel rebuilding teams like he did with Tennessee. That's what they need. Get better again and get back to the playoffs. So what were some of the things that Mike Vrabel said on Patriots' new offense? He mentioned that we want to be versatile enough. Versatile enough. Does that mean maybe your fastest player on defense can play a little offense too? Maybe. Versatile meaning you can play the X and inside, outside, maybe even out of the backfield like a Deebo Samuel type? Okay. It's what the players can get good at. Doesn't want to dabble in everything. And I will say this, that's a Belichick thing, right? Have guys on the team that are great at doing something, one thing. Now, generally, they want players that can do multiple things good. But at this point, how many Patriots really do one thing well? I'll say this. I think Christian Gonzalez is a good boundary corner. I think Christian Barmore plays well on the inside as that inside tackle. I think Devin Godshaw can stop the run, even though this year they didn't. I think Jawan Bentley's a pretty good middle linebacker or inside linebacker. Everything else, oof. Like Kendrick Bourne doesn't run routes well enough. Douglas has some size issues, but, I'm just thinking about guys who do things well. Maybe it's Michael Nwenu. I don't know. They don't have enough guys that do a lot, that are good at certain things. He also emphasized being aggressive but not being reckless. Isn't that what the Patriots preach for Drake May? So is that what's good for Drake May's future? Weaponize tempo. I've heard that word before. Weaponize. Cadence, shifts, formations. This team could really look at that. They need to work on that, so I'd be a little bit careful. Like guys weren't lining up on offensive line the right way. So he's talking about a lot of things that they want to be. They weren't last year. They had issues with shifts and formations and cadence, and they had no weapons. They were reckless at times and not even aggressive. And they don't have a lot of good players. So, talking about all these things, again, you need good players, right? We're going to talk to Karen Guregian coming up in just a little bit from Mass Live. She was at the press conference today. We'll pick her brain on some Patriot stuff. But let's talk to Bob and Needham. Hey, Bob.
How you doing, guys? First of all, every single coach, starting with Parcells, has been, ripped out, going out the door. They badmouth every single one, starting with Parcells, then Carroll, then Belichick, now Mayo. So I assume Vrabel knows he's it's his shelf life, and he's going to get ripped going out the door too, no matter what happens. But I do think that he will stabilize the defense. I do think he needs to get an offensive guy in here that he knows and trusts to change the offensive thing. I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about changing this culture because it seemed to fall apart, especially this year, but even the last year of Belichick. I think the culture just was disappeared. Belichick knew that Mayo was ready to stab in the back. It was coach in waiting. That story about him twirling a bat in a meeting is disturbing on its own. But I think that Vrabel will have the room, and he'll say, and he will do what Belichick did. You don't want to be here, you're gone. But I hope they get a hold of the drafting room. Because I agree. I don't think that Wolf will have barely any say. He'll be, he can contribute with the scouting reports, but he was the one that was scouting these terrible players like Cole Strange and and Douglas. I don't care what anyone says. Douglas can play against the run, but he can't do much more. I mean, they re-signed him to a contract.
Thanks, Bob. You're right. You're right, Bob. You're right. You are right, my friend. Where are they going to get better? They're going to have to draft better and sign some guys in free agency, then see what you have. So I know people are excited about Mike Vrabel. He wants to galvanize the football team. Just think it may take some time. That's all. Let's talk to Andy in Manchester. Hey, Andy.
Hey, Joe.
Hey.
What kind of rebuild did Vrabel do in Tennessee? Because he inherited a playoff team from Malarkey.
That's my point. He inherited the team, but didn't rebuild it. And
you just said he rebuilt the Titans.
No, if you listen to what I said, I gave you the record of him when he took over the team when they were good, and then I gave you the record of when they weren't good when he took over.
I thought I must have missed that. Sorry, man. Have a good night.
So that guy's on my side, right?
He's on your side. He just didn't know he was on your side.
Yeah, he didn't know yet. He wanted to call in and be like, did Joe just say that Mike Vrabel rebuilt the Titans? He actually inherited the team. So, I wrote that. Skaz, if you look at the rundown that I sent our boss today instead of you by accident because you have the same name.
Yeah, that was a first. I was like, Joe, you sent the rundown?
And he even wrote back to me. He goes, looks solid, bro. Thanks, Louth. Looks real solid. Yeah, I gave you the numbers. After finishing 500 in 2022 and 23, He went 41-24 in 4 seasons, but 13-21 his last 2 years. So to reiterate, when he took over the team, they were good. But once he had his own guys there, they weren't good. So let's see, 13-21. I'm just going to do some Joe math here, everybody. 21-34. Okay, so 34 divided by 13. 34 divided by 13. So 13 divided by 34. Sorry about that. He had a 38% win percentage. Is that good? 38% of the games he won. That's the guy they just hired that everybody loves. But the positive is he did win games taking over. So maybe that's what the Patriots are looking for. Someone who can just stop the bleeding and maybe be good in 2 or 3 years. Maybe there's a little bit of that. But yes, just to answer the question, I did mention that I got someone just texted me, "You're scaring me about Vrabel." I didn't want to do this today. I wanted everyone to be happy that they swept Gerard Mayo under the rug. And now Vrabel's back. I didn't want to do it today. But here we are. Simon's in Somerville. Hi, Simon.
Hey, how's it going? I just had a question. I remember when Mac Jones had a coaching change in his first year, the media made a huge hubbub about it and how it was terrible. And, in my opinion, it ruined Mac. I mean, he didn't really become much in his second year after making the Pro Bowl and the playoffs his first year. So I just want to know what you think is different with Drake May and the coaching change.
Well, I guess that's the big question. We don't know. Again, I'm sorry, Simon, I didn't get to ask you. But what does Mike Vrabel, how does he help Drake May in the offense?
He's not Gerard Mayo.
Did I say Gerard Mayo?
No, I'm saying that's how he helps him. Okay. He's not Gerard Mayo.
No, I know. I've almost done that a couple of times, though. Like, I used to talk Gerard Mayo as Belichick, and as you just talk about the old guy because you're so used to pounding him. Pounding the name. So that's an that's an upgrade, right? He's not Gerard Mayo? Okay. Okay. You sleep at night like that? That help you sleep?
No, certainly not. But you got to start somewhere, Joe.
So, okay, real quick, before we talk to Karen, he's inherited teams and they've been successful right away. Is that the number one reason why the Crafts hired him, or is it just comfort?
I think comfort is a big part of it, but I think the fear, you talk about taking over a good team. I think it's more that, what happened when his offensive coordinators left. He had LaFleur. That first year, they were good. You had Arthur Smith. They were good. And then, those guys leave and Todd Downing steps in. They immediately go back. Well, I think they were like 13th or 14th Downing's first year. Then they were 31st in the league after that. And obviously roster talent, losing A.J. Brown has a lot to do with that. But, Vrabel stepped into that situation. So that's why I think offensive coordinator is such, a key for Drake May in the future of this franchise because – and I get it. Patriots fans looking at Josh McDaniels and saying, we should hire this guy because he's not going to leave us. We're not going to have that situation Vrabel had in Tennessee where, LaFleur left or Arthur Smith leaves. You can't be afraid of that situation. You can't go to Josh McDaniels and hire him just because he's not going to leave you because every other team doesn't want him as their head coach. No, you should be hiring the best guy possible that other teams will probably poach at some point. If Drake May is ascending and the Patriots are getting better, you're going to lose coaches. That's what happens when you're a good franchise. I don't want to hire Josh McDaniels because nobody else wants to touch him. I'm sorry, that's not convincing to me.
Yeah, he'll stay here for a really long time.
Yeah, we should keep him because nobody else is interested in him. No, thank you. That does nothing.
Hooch checking in. So why was he considered the top available choice in the market? Vrabel told you today how he can help. He's going to teach situational football. And I mentioned that he also said being versatile and being good at one thing and being aggressive, not reckless, and tempo, cadence, shifts, and formations, which they were terrible at this year. So he better be good at all those things. He better be good. We'll talk with Karen Guregian of Mass Live coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Congratulations. I was wondering if you have yet had a conversation with Drake May, and also what your impressions were of his rookie season, watching from afar.
Karen, I'm smiling, Karen, because I know I look a lot older than I did when I played here, and Karen looks exactly the same way she did when she stood in front of me in the locker room. That's amazing, Karen.
Thank you.
All right,
much.
whatever you're on, I need some of that. I need it. Yes, I've had conversations with players on our team.
That is new head coach Mike Vrabel at the press conference today. And he was talking about Karen, who's our next guest here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline, Karen Guregian of Mass Life. Karen, you got a nice little welcome from Mike Vrabel today on your Drake May question.
I did, Joe, but let me tell you, Mike is going to need a lot more than an old age drug to help him out in this situation.
All right, so let's start there. I wanted Ben Johnson. The way that Mike Vrabel handled himself today, though, I really was comfortable, at least from what we've seen over the last year or so. Mm-hmm. I wanted Ben Johnson for the simple fact that he can help elevate the quarterback to basically make everyone else better. Now, Vrabel comes into a situation where he just needs to restore a lot of things, but you're right. When you ask the question, he's talked to Drake May. I'm kind of wondering how he can impact Drake May right now.
Well, the whole thing with Drake May is, who's the offensive coordinator going to be? I mean, that's the biggest, that's going to help answer that question, I think, more than anything. And I think Mike also did talk about helping the quarterback more situationally, game situations, and to a degree, that's what Bill Belichick did with Tom Brady years ago during their Tuesday meetings. I think Bill went over what the defense was going to do to Tom every week and tried to prepare him that way situationally. And I think Mike will be very similar in that regard. But ultimately, it's going to come down to who is in those meetings every day with Drake May, who's who's running the offense, what the offense is going to look like. Is it going to be suitable for Drake May? On and on and on. It's more going to be who the offensive coordinator is than Mike Vrabel.
Karen, when I look at Mike Vrabel's track record, people will put up Coach of the Year and that he's been to a playoff and an AFC Championship game and even beat the Patriots for that matter. But he took over a team, and his last 2 years, he finished below 500. He finished 13-21, and he eventually got fired. So are the Crafts looking at this as he's the right guy or the right guy to take over and inherit a team to get it back on track and then see where it goes from there?
Well, I think he's the right guy for them for a lot of reasons. First, they're familiar with him. They like him. They know what he's about. Secondly, I think they like his his MO as a coach. I think he's tough. He's going to be tougher than Gerard Mayo, that's for sure. But like Mayo, he also has a good ability to communicate with the players. I don't want to say he has a soft touch, but he's going to be tough. They're not going to like him at the start. But ultimately, I think they'll figure out that however he's handling them has a purpose and a reason. And, he's going to beat the mistakes out of them. And we saw plenty of mistakes made and repeated over the course of the season. So I think he's going to be a very good head coach. I think he's going to be much better with in-game situations. And I think you're not going to go into a game and look on the sideline and really ever think that you're being out-coached. I mean, Mike Vrabel is that good of a coach. To me, it's going to come down to, again, what does his staff look like, particularly the offensive coordinator, and how good are they going to be at bringing talent in, whether it's landing free agents and also assessing the draft board, because those are all areas they've flunked in the past few years. So I think Mike's good enough to elevate a bad roster, but that's only going to get you so far.
Yeah, as I was throwing out that question to our audience tonight, like, what's Mike Vrabel going to do right away to help the offense? And I just said, well, maybe there's guys he's played with that can help here, right? He obviously has been known as a running team with Derrick Henry all those years. So I am curious who he brings in. He did mention, and you mentioned talent as well, he mentioned Elliott Wolf's name a couple of times, talked about an inside joke. Maybe the inside joke is get good players instead of fast players or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of what he said.
right? Like, now we're going to get good players.
Yeah, we're going to get good players now.
But that basically says that he got bad ones, though, right?
Yeah, well, that would kind of be the bump on that remark, yes. But I was still kind of left curious as to how this relationship with Elliott's going to work and how long. I mean, I think it's understandable that you want the front office people in place through the draft. I mean, they've done all the whole. Mike Vrabel can't come in now and all of a sudden be an expert draft guy. I mean, there's people in place who evaluate players and put together a draft board. I mean, Mike is at the mercy of the people who've already done the homework. What I'm going to be curious to see is when the draft and free agency is over, when they get through this cycle, will he bring in his people? So, I mean, that's going to be the thing, because, I don't know, arranged marriages rarely work, Joe, and this is actually more troubling to me, than how he's going to handle Drake May. It's how he's going to get along if it's a forced marriage with Elliott Wolf.
Huh. I wasn't thinking about that, because he, obviously he's going to bring in his own guy. And it's been reported that this grading system, I don't know if you have anything for me on the Elliott Wolf grading system that's been implemented this year, but it seems like Robert Kraft's behind it and they're going to go with it this year.
Well, what I can tell you is it's a much more modernized version of draft boards or grading systems, or maybe it's just something that's completely different than the draft board Bill Belichick used. The draft board Bill Belichick used, or how he wanted Scott Pioli or whoever, the scouts, to rate players was based on fit. It was based on all the things Bill Belichick wanted in his players, number one, and number two, how they would fit in the schemes he was running. They were running both offensively and defensively. So Bill Belichick's draft board was typically much smaller than most. There's only maybe 40, 50 guys on it, because those were the only players that were specific to what Bill Belichick was looking for. Most other draft boards are like a regular rating system. Who's the best at each position? 1 to 10, 10 to 1. And they ranked players based on how good they were evaluated. And I think maybe that's why you saw, some wide receivers slip down the board or weren't even on the Patriots board because they didn't fit the Belichick system way or whatever he was looking for.
Yeah.
Did I explain that?
Yeah. And listen, they're going with it. So maybe Mike Vrabel throws that whole thing out at the next draft. We might need more on that grading system down the line there, Karen. So
or maybe he's more from the Belichick school that wants fit.
There you go.
Right.
And he talked about that today, being good at one thing. I don't know. There's only a few Patriots that are truly good at that. We're talking about Karen Guregian. She is of the Mass Live, columnist over there. I know you've had a relationship with Gerard Mayo over the years. Have you heard from him, talked to him, and did you feel like at all that the Crafts and everybody wanted to just sweep the Gerard stuff under the rug and move on from it? Was it, because that's my feeling from today.
Yeah, I think the way they went about it, I mean, I think they had that release all whipped up. It was so well written. And the fact that it came out an hour and a half after the game, I mean, this was in the works. They didn't just decide after watching that game, the last game of the season, where they lost the first-round pick and beat the Bills. They didn't decide right then and there that was enough. This was weeks in the making. It was, I was going to say, months in the making, where I think the Crafts were seeing that, things weren't working as they had hoped. And I do think they do listen to fans. I do think when they're at home games, they can hear the fans booing. They heard the fire Gerard chants. They look around and saw the empty seats, and I think that had an impact on them. Do they stay the course and, basically come back with a coach that the fan base came to dislike over the course of another losing season? Or do they try and flip it around and go with more of a sure thing as a head coach in Mike Vrabel?
Yeah, just the whole Gerard Mayo thing. I know you're a reporter, so I'm going to ask. You can report on it or not. You can feel free to give an opinion, but what do you think the intentions were the final game of the year? You mentioned that this was probably in the making, but did them winning or losing had anything to do with him coming back or not?
No, I don't. I mean, and I don't. I think perhaps Gerard might have gotten an inkling that something was coming based on Adam Schefter's report.
Okay.
Right before the game, right? It didn't come from the Crafts. I think it came from reports, and I'm sure someone in the family might have said, "Hey, Gerard, it's not looking good for you," based on this Schefter guy. So
that's an opinion, right? Not a report.
It's not a report.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
It's not a report.
Okay.
I'm just like putting two and two together, Joe.
Yeah. I just don't want to hold you to it. Don't want to hold you to that.
But, I think it's not like they go into a game and say, okay, we're going to do everything we can to lose. But if you look at what they did, they went with the third-string quarterback. They went with a ton of subs. They didn't really play starters hardly at all, except at the beginning. And I just think Joe Milton was too darn good.
Yeah.
And Buffalo certainly wasn't trying.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Karen, I got one for you. You wrote this article like a week or two ago, and you mentioned are the Crafts lucky or good? I think it was somewhat the title. What are your overall thoughts on the Crafts? Like, granted, they saved the team and hired the right guys, but have they been lucky by that, or are they good?
I think the answer lies somewhere. This is going to be like a cop-out, but I believe it's the truth. I believe it's somewhere in between. I think early on, they saved the team. There's no question. They kept the team here. They deserve a ton of credit for that. But they also had the wherewithal. They blew it with Parcells, obviously, and they knew they made that mistake. But after Pete Carroll, Robert Kraft did something that I wrote personally, Joe, that I thought was asinine. Him giving the Jets a first-round pick for this guy, Belichick, who did nothing as a head coach in Cleveland. It's like I couldn't fathom giving up, talk about unproven, giving up a first-round pick for that guy. Look how stupid I look. But anyway, Joe, that turned out to be like the most brilliant decision of all time.
Yep.
Along with drafting Tom Brady, of course.
I used that as content last week. I was like, Karen wrote this, and I am curious. Like, they talk about being great businessmen. I don't think the succession plan for Tom Brady or Bill Belichick was good. And I'm going to, like today.
You were 100% correct.
Yep. I'm going to bend the knee today because I do think that Vrabel handled himself well and it just looked better. But I am going to compare the other coaches this year every week versus Vrabel because that's what we do here.
Well, but make sure you do this, Joe. Look at the rosters of the other teams that these guys are coaching.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Talent means a lot in this league. But
it does, and I've been around Vrabel from when he was a player to when he was an assistant coach in Houston to when he was a head coach in Tennessee. That's a lot of Vrabel to observe, and I think he's a good enough coach that again he can elevate less than great talent. But the trick here, if you really want to contend, if you really want a chance to win, you got to give the guy some players, or you got to spend to get the players, or you got to pick the right players.
Spend, huh? Well, they're going to have to do that this year.
It's great. You have a good coach and a good quarterback. But they need help around them.
All right, Karen. I know you had a busy day today. We heard you in the press conference. Scabs was like, "Why don't we have Karen on?" He said, "You know what? Let's do that." So I appreciate taking a few minutes. It's been a busy day, and
anytime for you, Joe.
I'll thank you. And I know you guys are going to be writing over at Mass Live. You got anything good? Anything good you want to tease coming up this week?
Well, everything we do is great, Joe. But I'd look for something that I have cooking for Wednesday. Talking with someone who has a really good beat on Vrabel.
All right.
There's your tease.
There you go. Karen Guregian, Mass Live. She's got a big one for Wednesday. Karen, appreciate the time. Excellent as always. And we will talk to you down the line.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, thank you so much. You too. Karen Guregian, everybody. Mass Live. Check out her work. Great team over there at Mass Live as well. They got excellent baseball coverage, basketball coverage, and of course football with Karen. I'm interested now. Now we got something for Wednesday. What I took out of that was they need good players. you need good players.
Is that an inside joke?
I think it is the inside joke. All right, let's get to the headlines here. I'm Joe Murray.
Sports Hub headlines.
We got football kicking off in just about 20 minutes between the Vikings. All right, we'll take a quick Patriots breather. But the Bruins did win the game on Saturday. It was an afternoon game. They had the lead. Things were going well. 1.8 seconds left. They gave up a goal. It wasn't good. It wasn't, actually. This after Brad Marchand went at the media about what they may or may not have heard. But they beat the Panthers. It was an ugly win, and it's what they needed. David Pastrnak, the game winner, and I believe Brad Marchand was on the line as well. Do you think they bled after? Do you think they were like, blah, suck it, blah? Like they needed to win, but you almost blew the game. Like, okay, you blow the game 1.8 seconds, then you win it. Is that a blah? Is that a blah?
For this team, Joe, against that team, yes, it's a blah. For them to beat the Panthers in any circumstance, I'll give them all the credit.
Swayman had one of his best games.
I think his best game of the year.
He gave up 3 goals but yeah.
I think there was like 100 shots or something like that.
Something like that. Power play scored. Just keep your eyes on that team. They always need something. So if it's my buddy whose name rhymes with beef, then so be it. You know what we got coming up next here? Do you have anything else to add about the Bruins? Because they're not worth talking about until they give us something to talk about.
I think tomorrow night's going to be a really interesting one. These teams do not like each other. They were going at it very recently at the end of that game. It's the Lightning tomorrow night.
Yeah, because 2 with Tampa, 1 with Florida.
Yep, they were mixing it up at the end of that game after getting their teeth kicked in. They decided to fight back at the very end. So
we were here for that.
Yes, so
that was stupid.
Very stupid.
With like a minute, like 10 seconds left or something. What was that? Late in the game, they're about to get in a fight. It's like, dude, just wait till next week.
So, maybe they come out with some fight instead of ending the game when they're down 4 goals with some fight. That'd be, nice to see.
All right, well, we got in or out. Coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
And now they're just sending turkey legs. All right, next one, Skips.
All right, Joe, we'll head to our friends at Rolled Gold, the pretzels. I'm sure you're familiar.
Oh, I love Rolled Gold.
They're teaming up with Auntie Anne's for Cinnamon Sugar Select pretzels.
Get out of here.
Available in stores, Joe. I actually saw these over the weekend. That's what piqued my interest. Joe Murray, are you in or out on... Yeah, that was a stupid question.
Oh, Auntie Anne. Dude, I went to a mall recently. I walked around, and I could smell the Cinnabon. And I definitely could smell the Auntie Anne's. I got to get an image of this bad boy. So it's the Rolled Gold, like, chip, kind of, pretzel chip. And it's going to combine with the Annie's. Oh. How do I get it? Do I have to, go to a mall?
I saw these in a market basket, Joe.
So it's a chip then?
They're like pretzel rods, like the little twists.
See, I want them heated and a little soft. How do I do that? Can I put it in the air fryer?
I don't know if they're pretty cooked, Joe, when you get them.
No, but I want them soft.
I don't think these pretzels are getting soft. They're your hard standard pretzel twist, Joe. I'm sorry to disappoint.
All right, well, I'm in. Tristan's in, Russ in, Josh is out, Aaron. Whoa, people are out. In. Wow, dude, there are great combinations in life. Rolled Gold and Annie's. In. And I feel like this should be in every mall in America. Maybe this should be a food truck. The Rolled Gold Annie's wagon.
I'd follow that wagon.
Ooh, what about hot dogs on a pretzel roll?
You're getting too crazy now.
I love Annie's and Cinnabon. What about a Cinnabon Annie's pretzel?
A pretzel bun? Just another mouse, I guess.
Out! Why can't I? No. When I was a kid, I read the book Mickey Mouse with a little ship wheel whistling while he works. Steamboat Willie. Out! I can't believe I said toll booth.
Toll booth Willie. Yeah.
Welcome to Worcester.
Also,
$1.25, please.
All right, Joe. This making waves a little bit over the NFL, not involving this year's playoffs, but NFL on CBS reporting that the NFL may look into changing the playoff format this offseason, with top 4 teams in win percentage getting a home game instead of the division winners. Joe Murray, are you in or out?
I'm in that they're talking about it. I'm out on them changing it. I still think winning your division is important. So for now, I'm out on changing it. I'm in on at least speaking about it. $1.25, please. I actually watched this Best of Adam Sandler this weekend, and it was all opera, man. He had to be stoned on a couple of them, though. Anyways, win your division, earn home field, says Sean. Chuck's in, Blake's in. Anything else there tonight, guys?
Yes, Joe. In college over the weekend, Rick Barnes made some waves because he benched one of his star players in the second half. And after the game, he said he benched him because he wasn't doing what he is paid to do. Joe Murray, with NIL now a huge thing in college sports, are you in or out on coaches benching guys because they're not doing what they're paid to do?
In. Like in Blue Chips when Ricky Rowe wanted to go home. And he asked the coach, he said, hey, Butch McRae wanted to go home. And he goes, hey, if I wanted to leave, will my mom lose her house and her job? And he was like, you got to talk to the friends of the program. And he made a phone call. And they were like, well, absolutely, mom's going to lose it. So if you're getting paid and you suck and you're not delivering, you should be benched. In. Rick Barnes, in.
In on that as well. And one Matthew Stenberg works here at the Sports Hub. Checking in, a Virginia native, a big fan of crab and crab dip, I'm sure, says the thought of wasting crab dip on or with a turkey leg is borderline offensive. So Stenberg, out on the crab dip for the turkey leg.
The only thing I like about the turkey leg idea is that you can actually carry it to your seat. That's it. But imagine me hawking around a turkey leg. I feel like Barney Rubble. Like, bring it back to my seat and eat it. And by the way, what do you do with the bone? If you eat a turkey leg, right? Like I go to the Topsfield Fair, right? I'll get myself a turkey leg. I can barely eat the whole thing. I throw it in a barrel. But like, what do people at a game do with a turkey leg? And don't tell me they're putting it in a barrel. God bless the waitresses that have gotten the bones after I've ate them after wing night. I even saw Jake chuckle after that one. There's nothing more gross than eating bones. Again, we did talk about what was that? The poop museum? What was that called? The Pooseum,
which I believe is in Arizona. I'm going to have to have Jake do some investigative journalism there. But yes, the Pooseum.
You ever heard of the Pooseum? It's a museum about poop.
Yes, they tout the largest poop ever found, I believe, by a T-Rex at the Pooseum.
JP saying that they give the bone to Dino. No, for real. Someone at a game eating that turkey leg is not throwing that bone away.
Night edition of In or Out.
The thought of wasting crab dip on a turkey leg is offensive. I agree with you, Stenberg. And he's from, where is he from?
Virginia. That's crab country down there.
Well. Did you hear me trying to ask Karen? I think that someone in his family got wind of them, and then he got, whoa! I was going to run with that one. And then I had to ask. All right, well, that's In or Out for tonight. Thank you for playing along, everybody. Oh, Jay and Hull. Don't be fresh. All right, we'll get to the headlines here. I'm Joe Murray, and the Celtics. Everyone's worried. We'll talk about that next here on the Sports Hub.
To Lindholm.
Talk about the old guy because you're so used to pounding him.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's home for sports.
No, he tied it. Zaka cross, they scored. Porzingis point a shot, rebound, score.
WBCFM at HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Leslie Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Do you know Who's singing?
Sorry, what'd you say?
Who's singing the national anthem? I just was curious if anybody.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have not seen. Did you like the sax over the weekend? The guy playing the sax for the anthem? And his last name was Sax?
In or out on saxophones for the national anthem?
In-ish, yeah. Why not? If you're good.
Chat, in or out on saxophone? Anyways, I was trying to wonder who that person is who's singing. I can't hear them, but they have a beautiful voice. Celtics struggling at the moment. 3-point shooting last 4 games. Do you know what this is not good. This is going to help the people that they shoot too many threes crowd. But the Celtics have taken 165 threes over the last 4 games. They've hit 45 of them. Joe Math, 165 divided by 45, or 45 into 165, 27.1%. That's not good. Listen to these 3-point shooters. Derek White, 2 for 22. Jaylen Brown, 2 for 14. Peyton Pritchard, 5 for 23. Jason Tatum, 8 for 32. Drew Holiday, 5 of 17. Anybody concerned that the 3 ball isn't falling? They're just getting by talent alone. I did think they got outworked the other night by Domantas Sabonis, no doubt about that. Is something up with Derek White? He hasn't played well the last couple of games. What's going on there? Porzingis is playing well, but it's doing less for Al Horford. Are you concerned with the Boston Celtics? I'm not. But you know who we'll ask? We'll ask StoolGreenie. He's Dan Greenberg. He's of Barstool Sports. And, well, I get called a green teamer. I'm not worried. I don't think anybody's going to beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. Skaz does a podcast called Green Teamers.
Went live for the first time yesterday, Joe. Unannounced, but the show. But, yeah, it was a quick one. Do you think they need to change the starting lineup, Joe? Do you think they should? I know we talked about it on Friday. I know you're a fan of the double big. What about Porzingis off the bench? This seems to be something that I've seen, some people around the Celtics propose. It might have been Noah Dalzell. I saw a couple people tweet about it. But, because the ball moves better with Horford. He's better as a starter. KP can be kind of, I don't want to call him an isolation player, but it sticks a little bit with him. He needs to go to work sometimes. He would be a huge boost to that second unit. Do you think they look at doing something like that?
I haven't even considered that. So there's a couple of things that are positive to that. You keep your starting 5 intact. If you're getting beat in transition and points in the paint, you then bring in Porzingis, who takes all that away, right? Then he becomes a featured scorer. He can play less minutes, which means less injuries. Yeah. The only pushback I have on it is the only time he ever did it was Game 1 of the NBA Finals. He's never done it in a regular season game. They opted to do it in the finals. Why wouldn't they do it in the regular season? The only thing is he really playing bad right now? Because he's not. That's the thing.
No, I don't think Porzingis has been bad.
I wouldn't even consider it a demotion, by the way. It's just the team is... But you didn't see Porzingis' name the last 4 games with those threes, though, did you? Right? You saw it was like Drew Holiday and Derek White and Jaylen Brown. Do you get what I'm saying? If it's the threes that... This is my point. If it's the threes that are the problem, but yet they're talking about Porzingis going to the bench, he's not a problem. But does it keep Al Horford fresh and give somebody else an... I like it. I'll entertain it.
I also think you're really starting to see the Celtics be the defending champs. We're getting, it's January, and teams are coming in with an agenda.
I got a stat on that.
Celtics are showing up to arenas. Teams are ready for them. They want a shot at the Celtics. That's what happens when you're the champs. That's what happens when everyone crowns you the champs. That's what everyone says they're the favorites. It goes through Boston, so they're going to get teams' best shots. And if the Celtics aren't ready, what happened against the Kings is what's going to happen. That was a Kings team without De'Aaron Fox. DeRozan, a noted Celtics killer, didn't even shoot that well, and they ran you off your own floor. So I think it's something the Celtics are learning to deal with. We're getting every team's best shot every night. I think Tatum's been their best player all year. If you look at, everyone statistically compared to years past, he might be the only guy that's not regressing, which is kind of crazy to say. White's fallen off a little bit this year. Holiday's had a fall off, not shooting those corner threes as efficiently as he was. Horford getting older. Jalen's shot has, gone through up and downs this year. It's been a lot of Tatum. And it's crazy to say, I'm not going to sit here and say Jason Tatum needs help. The roster needs to do more around him, but they just have to play to their level. Yeah. If this team plays to their level, they're very, very difficult to beat. They just haven't played to their level recently.
Like you just said, Tatum's the only one who hasn't regressed. I'll just leave you with this, and then we'll talk to StoolGreenie. The Bulls in their final year, when they went 67-15, they went 57-25 the next year. They went 7-8 in the month of January. The Warriors that went 67-15, they went 59-23 the next year. They went 7-5 in the month of January. It's very common for these great teams to struggle in the month of January. Very common. Let's talk to Greenie, StoolGreenie. We'll do that next here on the Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray.
And I just told you, historically, teams that are great, example, the Bulls, years ago. The Bulls went 67-15. The next year, they went 57-25 and won the finals, but had a really bad January stretch going 7-8. The Warriors that went 67-15 went 59-23 and won the next season. But they went 7-5 in the month of January. So I'll welcome in our next guest. His name is Dan Greenberg. He is from Barstool Sports, StoolGreenie, joining us here on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. I just told you about those teams that went back-to-back. Greenie, how you feeling these days, bud?
Well, I think we've certainly all been in agreement that this has not been the best viewing experience of the Boston Celtics over the last month and a half. I think that's sort of where I'm at. I agree with you in your big picture analysis, but at the same time, we know what good basketball looks like, and they have not played good basketball on a consistent basis for a little bit, of a concerning stretch. I mean, a month is a long time.
A month's a long time. Don't get me wrong. And all right, so you probably listen to this station. You see me fighting and defending the Celtics. My whole thing with defending the Celtics is I'm not worried right now. Like I don't think a team is going to beat them. I do think teams lay down to them once they realize they're beat. I stand by that, but the consensus is they shoot too many threes. And listen, first off, I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Like when someone says the Celtics shoot too many threes, what are your thoughts on that?
I think they are missing the point. Yes. I would not agree with that assessment, but that's me, and that's just over 100 game sample size, sort of doing the talking for you. They do not shoot too many threes. I would even argue recently they're not shooting enough threes, but that's an entirely different topic.
Yeah, and dude, I get criticized because I think their biggest issue is rebounding and points in the paint. Like the other night, Domantas Sabonis outworked everybody. To me, that loss, yeah, they weren't without De'Aaron Fox. They didn't do the little dirty work. You know what I mean? And that shows. Like they're a team right now that's kind of dragging through. And yeah, their 3-point percentage over the last 4 games is 27%. They're in a little bit of a slump, but I still think their issues are the dirty work.
Yeah, I mean, even in this rut that they're in where they're lucky to break 30% from three, that's still not even on their top 5, most concerning things. Talk to me about the fourth quarter defense. Talk to me about how they're not stopping anything on the perimeter or the late game defensive rebounding that you mentioned, where it just seems like any close game in the fourth quarter, the entire roster is allergic to, ending these possessions cleanly, causing turnovers. So, the defensive side of the ball is way more of a concern to me than their shooting or their three-point volume. I don't understand how anybody could disagree with that.
Well, it's because it's from afar, right? You see the number, they only shot 26%, blah, blah, blah. I do think they're in a little bit of a rut there. That comes up to another point that I wanted to ask you about. I think Derek White's struggling right now. I don't want to take him out of the rotation or the starting lineup or anything like that. I've at least thought about going back to the double big because I think it's important for Horford to be a part of what they're doing. So Drew would be the odd man out. Skaz just mentioned something to me about potentially Porzingis off the bench. I know he only did it in the NBA Finals, but would that be something that they should consider at this point while they're struggling shooting the three?
No, I think this is what you need to play through. You need your best 5 to get reps together. You looked at that lineup last year, the normal traditional starting 5, they were incredible. Now, it's one of the worst starting 5 combinations in the entire league. That lineup is your bread and butter that's going to carry you to another championship. You have to get that group together on the court because you don't know how healthy Porzingis is going to be. So if right now this is a healthy stretch for him, he needs to be in the role and in the usage and in the the system as you originally intended, because we've barely seen it this year. And you can tell the rhythm isn't quite there. The shot making's not quite there. Those are the things that I think are stressing everybody out. You only solve that by giving that group more time together on the court.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. And, we saw some other teams get blown out. New York got blown out the other night. You're seeing what the Thunder are doing to some of these teams at the moment, but I still have questions about those teams when it comes to, the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. But is it fair to say, though, that everyone has regressed this year at some point or another, but Tatum's been pretty consistent?
I mean, they've regressed as shooters for sure. I mean, that's just a statistical fact. Last year, they had 6 guys shoot 40% on catch-and-shoot threes. This year, they have 2. Drew Holiday last year was a 60% corner shooter. Now he's down to the low 30s. Tatum, Jalen, everybody's percentages have dipped, and I think part of that is natural regression. Like, their shot making was at such an insane pace last year. I think people have to remember you get one of those seasons in your lifetime. So, it's understandable that instead of living at 42, 41%, now guys are at 37, 38. And just that little bit of a dip is what we're all feeling right now, where they start a game 0 for 5 and we all start getting nervous and the Garden gets tense. And you can tell until they see the ball go through the hoop, the players, it's just a mental thing. They just need a game where they make 23s on 48% shooting and they just get it out of their system.
All right, we're talking with StoolGreenie here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Jason Tatum, third youngest player in NBA history with 12,000 points, 4,000 rebounds, 2,000 assists. Only behind LeBron James and Giannis. What were your thoughts on seeing those numbers?
I mean, it's just more of a realization that we are witnessing a generational player and a generational Celtic. I mean, what else can he do to dispel that way of thinking? Nothing he does impresses me, yet at the same time, after every game, Dick Leip's telling me he's done something that hasn't been done since Larry Bird. And you almost have to take a step back and appreciate what we are witnessing. Because, again, I went my whole life, and Paul Pierce was the best Celtic I ever got to experience as a fan. We now have that version in this era, and he's arguably going to end things as a top 3 Celtic of all time. And that's a legitimate conversation. It's just appreciate him while he's here is all I can say.
Well, I just wish they'd knock down some of the shots that he assists on, right? Like
I know.
Like, imagine what his numbers would be.
I know. He has, his last 4 games especially, I tweeted the stat today, 34 potential assists to only 13 actual assists. And all of these passes are leading to wide open looks, and just nobody can make a basket. It's almost like it's so bad it's impressive. Like, I'm not even mad. I'm impressed that they can be so bad off Jason Tatum passes. That's bizarre.
You think the schedule is going to get any easier here? You said it's I saw you write somewhere, it was on Barstool, but I think you wrote it's encouraging but frustrating the way that they're playing, but the schedule does get harder here.
Yeah, well, it depends on what you consider hard, right? Like, I think a lot of people would have considered Sacramento an easy game, and they had won 5 straight and ran you off the floor. They're about to play Toronto. Then they go out west. Like, are the Warriors, is that a good game or like a tough opponent, not tough opponent? It is a West Coast swing, but I just think if they can just win at home and get some wind under their belt and see the ball go in, I think, they have the easiest remaining schedule in the entire league, or at least one of them. So the opportunity to stack wins is there, but they have to play a better brand of basketball. The brand that we're seeing right now is mediocre. It's why they're 500 over the last month, because they're not playing to their standard. If they do that, they should be fine.
Yeah, you've had probably an interesting month or so, right, with football? You're an Arizona State guy, right?
Big time. And listen, it's a big night for us last night with the Commanders.
I was going to say.
And the playoff run, but especially the Commanders. ASU's all over that team.
Well, you had Scatterbo, right?
Yeah.
And then Daniels. I mean, I don't know which one's had a bigger week or so. I mean,
And Zane Gonzalez, don't forget, he was their kicker.
Oh, that's right. He was the guy that was worried about his hair all night. You got anything on that?
Yep. I mean, let me put it this way. If this wasn't exactly the Jaden Daniels that us, ASU fans got to experience, but you could tell there was something about him. I mean, what can you say now? He's just tearing up the NFL. It's insane. Yeah,
I was wondering. Daniels, though, I mean, he was legit last night. I got to tell you, he took a hit going out of bounds last night, which I surprised he came back. He had a cut on his eye as well.
Well, how about the one where the defender went like right into his knee? Like, hey, but he's like a Gumby. He just bounces right back. So hope he stays healthy for sure.
You got anything on the ownership with the Celtics? Any clues? Have you heard anything?
No, I mean, it's something that I feel like we're all just sort of waiting on, right? They told us it was going to be a fast process, and now here we are midway through January, and the bids aren't even in. I don't really care who it is as long as, they obey my 4 rules, which is, primarily just letting Brad Stevens do whatever the hell he wants and committing to Missoula ball. But outside of that, as long as they're willing to pay the tax, I don't really care who it is.
Yeah, I was going to mention just the open roster spot. I know some teams have to make some decisions on guaranteed contract, etc. What do you think they do with that?
Well, it all depends. If you are someone who thinks they need big man help, with Porzingis' health, the market isn't great. I personally think they'll look to move Springer's $4 million. The position might be dictated by health, who's around, but I would not sleep on Drew Peterson getting converted for that 15th roster spot, just because he gives you the shooting, he gives you the experience, he's cheap, he knows the system. So I think, the only trade they'll make will be either for, if they're going to keep Peterson, then you look for big man insurance, but the market for low salary players at both positions is pretty gross, not really filled with guys who really fit how you play. So I don't think they stand pat, but it's going to be minor, if anything.
Do you ever try to understand what Joe Mazzulla's talking about at times when it comes to pre-conscious and post-conscious and all that stuff? Because I've stopped figuring it out, but I think everyone's just scared of him and it works.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he could tell me, the sky is, orange, and as long as he's winning me titles, I'm a believer. He's got me hooked and sinker. I mean, it doesn't have to make sense to me as long as it makes sense to them and they translate it to the court. I just, it's, the Belichick effect where anything you say or anything you do, as long as you win, it works. But, 500 basketball, let's turn that around so we can all have fun again, to his hilarious quotes.
Are you a believer in the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Absolutely. I think they are checking every box of a legitimate contender. I think they're having that same type of, once-in-a-lifetime season you just had. I think they have some different lineup issues that the Celtics didn't have to deal with, but why wouldn't you believe in what they've done? This is midway through the season. They're not slowing down, and, they have to prove it in the playoffs, of course, but I think what they're doing is as legit as any of the Boston, Oklahoma City, or themselves so far this year. I think you'd be silly to overlook them.
All right, man. I'm not silly to overlook them. I just still don't think that they're a threat. But, I feel like I saw you say that you think the NBA has been better than the NFL this year.
Oh, well, I think on a nightly, in terms of the product, the quality of what you're watching, it's almost not even an argument. I mean, just look at this whole NFL weekend of playoff games. You got one good game, you could tune into the NBA every night and get 3 or 4 good games. I think the product on a nightly basis is so much better.
Ooh, what about Christmas Day? How'd you feel about that?
I thought they destroyed the NFL, and I don't care about the ratings. People are going to watch if it's a gross product or not. The actual game and product themselves, I thought the NBA had a much better Christmas.
LeBron had to call it out, too.
He was right. And listen, I hate LeBron, but the guy had a point.
Oh, speaking of hate, what do you think Jimmy Butler ends up?
Man, I think either basketball Siberia, like the Pistons or something, or he stays in Miami, picks up the option out of spite, and we do this all again for another year and a half.
All right, our chat wants to know what Greenie thinks is Jason Tatum clutch.
He's arguably one of the most clutch players since he entered the NBA, so I would say yes.
Yes is the answer to because he did hit a big shot yesterday, right?
Well, he had a couple tough fast break layups, missed a couple clutch free throws. So there were issues, but
does that make it clutch if he misses free throws? He's not clutch.
I mean, he wasn't clutch in that moment. That's for sure.
Did he hit the shot though?
Which one?
He hit a big shot, right, to go ahead in the game.
The dunk?
Yesterday? I'm trying to think. Yes, right?
Yeah, but he also missed the fast break layup, got the putback, and then dunked it.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
You kind of like for him to hit the transition layup and avoid that whole, heart attack. But listen, can't all be choosers.
So the answer is yes.
Oh, yeah, unequivocally yes. Unequivocally yes.
All right, bro. Well, I appreciate the time. I like to read your stuff sometimes because, as confused as I am about Joe Mazzulla, you seem to figure it out.
Listen, we are of the same mind. We're both psychos from New England. You know, he's a little bit more deranged than me, but I'm like half deranged. So I pick up what he's putting down.
It's kind of like you know how to sell it, you know?
Well, listen, you win, it's easy to sell. I think that's the overall point. If you win, I can sell anything.
Now, listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I work at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I work with Skaz. Skaz does a podcast called The Green Teamers. I have been labeled a Green Teamer. I'm not. I'm from here, but I'm not a Green. But I do think they're the best team in the league. And I think in January, when people harp on three-point shooting, I just can't have it. Like, I can't do it.
No, it's because it's not real. It's just not real. You know, remember, we were also told by these same people when they lost back-to-back games to the Hawks in March that they weren't ready to win the title. So I think you have to understand what's happening between now and the spring is not about predicting what they'll do in the playoffs. It's about stacking wins and maintaining health. If you do those two things, you're in a great position to repeat. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and Anthony Edwards is the most dominant player in the league and got shut down by Jason Tatum.
Also happened.
And, again, Jimmy Butler tapped out because...
I don't know. I mean, he was hurt before they even played. So
he tapped out. Donovan Mitchell tapped out last year. Tyrese Halliburton. I know they were hurt. They could have played. It's playoffs. You got to play. So
maybe, but at the same time, you know, they were still 8-2 against all those guys when they were playing. So I'm not sure how much of a difference it would have made. Either way.
It helps my argument. Just go with it.
All right.
They all tap out. Jimmy Butler's tapped out now. Now you got Anthony Edwards doesn't want to pass anymore. Every time they lose to the Celtics, they tap out.
Right, but, you know, that's the version that was killing everybody. The version we're seeing right now, they're not striking fear into too many hearts, and that's the annoying part. Get back to that, and I'll be more on your side.
All right, he's StoolGreenie, everyone. Check him out. Dan, appreciate your time, and go Jaden Daniels.
All right, guys, appreciate it.
You got it. I fired like 50 questions at him tonight. I had 4 ready to go. You know what we should do next time we have Greenie on? We should have 30 questions ready to go, and we can have the chat get in on it. What do you think? Maybe we can ask him, like, what's his favorite vegetable?
We have Jake back here. We could have had a little Arizona State talk. A couple guys chopping it up about their alma maters. Some James Harden talk.
I can't believe I didn't think about that. James Harden, beard or no beard? I'd go beard.
Hey, Greenie, what a shock. Doesn't sound too worried.
Yeah, he also didn't back my take that everyone tapped out. No one likes
You
that
were looking
take.
for a cosigner, Joe. You didn't get it.
No one likes my take on that. Guys, it happened. Tyrese Halliburton could have played in the game. But he goes, we're not going to win anyways. I'm not going to chance it. Right? Couldn't Donovan Mitchell have played? He didn't even dress. They were like, dude, these guys are too good. Just everyone accept it. Accept it. And accept that Jimmy Butler tapped out too. He doesn't want to be there anymore. Anthony Edwards doesn't want to pass the basketball anymore. At some point, Domantas Sabonis is going to might want to help the Celtics rebound maybe. I don't know. All right, well, we're late. I'll tell you the score. Kevin O'Connell and Sean McVay, huh? Who hired them? All right, we'll get to the headlines here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
Mike Vrabel, new coach of the Patriots, announced today. Rams up 10-0 right now in the first quarter. has spoken with Deion Sanders about the team's head coaching vacancy. Discussions are expected to continue. Coach Prime considered the top candidate, though the Cowboys plan to interview other candidates. I have the odds for the next Cowboys head coach, if anybody cares. Kellen Moore, the favorite to take over, followed by Deion Sanders. I didn't see Bill Belichick on there. 10-1 odds. 10-1 odds for Belichick to take over. Very interesting there. I think that's one of the top jobs. Dallas Cowboys. Trying to think who could really help that team out. Kellen Moore could be a fit. Played quarterback there. Pretty good offensive coordinator. Very interested to see how that one shapes up. But Deion Sanders in the mix. Also, I posted my Gerard Mayo video that Jay cut. I'm not going to let it just sweep under the rug regarding the Patriots succession plan. Just think about it. The succession plan from Tom Brady was Cam Newton. The succession plan for Bill Belichick was Gerard Mayo. Like, Cam Newton, I'll give it. Like, he was a star at one point. Still a big name. The Gerard Mayo, that was an absolute fail. Certainly got swept under the rug today. All right, we got the musings. Murray's Musings coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub. Around here, we call them the Joe Murray pre-party. It's Felger and Maz, afternoons right now. Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
Stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, back here 98.5 The Sports Hub. It's Murray's Musings. To BJ's, had a little bit of a Shaw's order. Like I like to use the app, and we have a great sponsor here, the Shaw's and Star Market. They have that great app where I order my stuff, and then I go and pick it up, and someone brings it to my car, and it's fantastic. But yesterday, Skaz, I went to BJ's, and I loaded up, man. I like peanut butter cheese crackers. You know what those are? Those little, I actually got a couple right here. So normally, like, I'll go to Market Basket and get like 10 of these for like $5. Yesterday, though, I scored 40 of these bad boys for $9.99. So, of course, I was like, all right, well, let's splurge. What else can I get? And I got, like, turkey sausages. I got, lots of air frying stuff. But it brings up a question, Skaz. What's the most you've ever spent at a grocery store? I spent $171 yesterday. And I thought I kept it light. I didn't get the essentials. I didn't get any meats. I didn't get any cheeses. I didn't get any of the goods. I just got what I needed. Big thing of toilet paper,
No meats and cheeses? They didn't make the cut?
Well, I was trying to have a budget of $150. That turned into $171. But I asked the guy in the store, I go, what's the most you've ever seen? And the guy told me $3,000. So I don't think I may have gone over 200 before.
I don't think I've ever broken the 200 mark. But I lived alone for the last, 5 or 6 years, and my girlfriend moved in. So yeah, it's not, I was buying groceries like once a month, like maybe once every 2 weeks.
Like I've gotten catering orders from Dom's before, which is like a couple of hundo. I have a receipt to prove it. So I'm actually kind of curious. What is the average grocery store run? And Boston Concession says $512. Can't read what some of the other guys have said. But I was thinking about, what's an average number? And I got this for myself. Like I meal prepped today. Brought my own crackers. I have veggie sticks that I bought a case of 40 for like $11.99. I thought it was a great deal. But yes, how do you spend $3,000 on a trip to the store? That's a great question, Sean. I don't know.
Joe, from Google's AI overview, so take it for what it's worth. In 2024, the average American spent $174 per trip to the grocery store.
I spent $171.
174.
Am I the average person?
One person, it says, spends around $131 per trip. For two people, $143. 3 to 4 people, $204. And then a family of 5 or more is around $262 per trip.
Well, I went to BJ's yesterday, which I felt like I got some damn good deals. Which I do agree with that. My favorite place is Market Basket. But have you ever been to an Aldi before?
I have.
I like Aldi.
I saw this video, Joe. I know where you're going. A wild video out of an Aldi in Chicago.
So, what type of animals have you ever seen at a supermarket?
Birds, I would say. It's mostly birds.
The supermarket, whatever it is in Dorchester, growing up, we used to hide behind, back in the day, our old radio station was on Morrissey Boulevard. Wow, did you hear that?
No one snuck out there.
I can't say Dorchester or Morrissey Boulevard like normal. I can't. But we used to hang out because this is where we used to drink and hang out when we were kids. Because there were these, those boxes, they're like truck boxes Sometimes they just leave them out in the parking lot. So we used to hide behind them and drink and hang out. So if everyone's flying down Morrissey Boulevard, they couldn't see us. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the point of this story. Oh, the point of my story was I saw a lot of cats, raccoons. Can't recall rats. Can't recall that. I've seen a lot of cats though, like strays. But today at an Aldi, where was this?
Chicago, I believe.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I knew you said that already, and I wasn't listening. Well, today at an Aldi, and I would call this a produce section, kind of like where you would get cheese on the fly, or like like where you would get cheese, or like mozzarella, or, yogurt, that kind of aisle. Well, they saw something behind there, and, when they, what kind of animal was it? They thought maybe, possum, raccoon. How does a coyote get in there? How? A coyote? I'm from the city, so I don't think I've ever seen a coyote before. Like Coyote Ugly's probably the bar is probably the closest thing I've come to a coyote in my life. But I ask you, what? And what do they do? They just let it go run in the store after? How did they get rid of the coyote? Oh, now I don't want to know. Yeah, you walk into a store and see a coyote and tell me how you feel. Well, I guess I'm on pace with the rest of the shoppers that are out there. Birthdays today. Let's start with Julie Louis-Dreyfus. Margot, 64 years old today. She also played Elaine, of course, on Seinfeld. Singer Trace Adkins, 63 years old today. Actor Patrick Dempsey, 59 years old today. Shonda Rhimes, Robert Stack, Rip Taylor, Charles Riley, all dead.
Marco Mira, Joe?
Oh, golfer.
One of Tiger's best friends, 68 years old.
Robin Big.
Yeah, met him one time, R.I.P.
Wait, what?
Yeah, legend.
You met Big of Robin Big?
Yeah, he was in Boston for something. I don't even remember what. Just saw him. It's like, that's big. And he was. Buffalo Bills, I believe.
How big, though? Oh, he played for the Buffalo Bills?
I thought so. Thought he was, like The Rock or one of those guys. A cup of coffee in the NFL.
Athlete turned bodyguard?
Yes. How about Bob Baffert, Joe? His birthday today.
The horse guy.
The illegal horse guy.
I love to bet on horses. I love horses. Buttercup. Butter stuff. You've seen Half Baked, right?
Yes.
He goes to the store and he gets some popcorn and some pizza. It's P. World died. Ever watch any of the Ernest movies? See, this is where I'm old. How old are you again, Skaz? 32?
I just turned 31, Joe.
31. All right, so I'm officially 11 years older than you. So you don't know Ernest P. Worrell?
It's like Ernest Goes Somewhere,
Ernest Goes
right?
to Camp.
Yeah, I know of them. I've never seen them. He's like a Rodney Dangerfield looking guy, right? They kind of... Yeah. I've never seen the movies, but I'm aware of their existence.
He was one of the cops that arrested Kenny. Wait, he died like 20 years ago? How come? Oh, maybe it was the anniversary. No, not Jim. Now I'm confused. Yeah, one of the Crocodile Dundee guy died too.
Jim Varney.
Yeah, when did he die?
The year 2000, Joe.
Well, that was a long time ago.
That would be 25 years ago.
There was another Ernest, though, that died. And there was...
Sorry to break it to you, Joe, but yes, he passed away 25 years ago.
Well, that's sad, because Crocodile Dundee just died, too.
Is that that's not a knife, that's a knife, Crocodile Dundee guy?
Yeah, that guy. Never mind. I won't mention deaths anymore.
Oh, yeah, we had one last week, a close call. Oh, that's right. I remember who. I won't say it, but yes, a man who was synonymous with New Year's for a long time. I believe you were talking about at the end of last week, who's getting up there in age.
Yes. Yes. People know who I'm talking about in the chat. Oh, well. All right, well, that's it for tonight, then. Any other birthdays that you know about today?
That is...
Anybody you know? Jake, when's your birthday?
December 19th.
Man, we missed it.
Missed it.
How old's Jake? 22?
Joe, you're on the money tonight. Just turned 22.
Get out of here.
Right on the money.
Could have bet on that. Joe math again. All right, let's wrap up. This is the final hour of the show coming up next here on the Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's home for sports.
Zaka cross, they scored. Porzingis, point a shot, rebound, score.
WBZFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. The Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Mike Vrabel, the new head coach of the Patriots. They're also going to bring in Ryan Howden. He was with the Giants. We have a football game on right now. It's interesting. 10-3 Rams right now. Let me just hit refresh. 10-3 Rams. 10-14 to go in the second quarter. Mike McCarthy's out in Dallas. They're interested in Deion Sanders. Oh. So confirmed. Crocodile Dundee is very much alive, but the actual crocodile recently passed away. Headlines, they are brought to you by Feldman Geospatial, with offices in Boston and Worcester. For all your survey services, you can count on Feldman to get it right from the ground up. FeldmanGeo.com. I need help. I'm Joe Murray. Talk to you soon.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
It's now somebody in charge. I don't feel that way. I feel as though Mike Vrabel struggled the last 2 years and inherited the team that got him to the playoffs. Speaking of that, remember the whole Baker Mayfield, Tom Brady thing? The quote from Baker Mayfield, the building was a little bit different when Tom was here.
Yeah, they won playoff games.
Obviously, playing-wise, Tom is different. He had everybody dialed in, high-strung. So I think everybody was pretty stressed out. They wanted me to come in, be myself, bring the joy back to football for guys who aren't having so much fun. Well, when they talked to Brady about it, he goes, I thought stressful was not having Super Bowl rings. So there was a mindset of a champion that I took to work every day. This wasn't daycare. If I was going to have fun, I'd go to Disneyland with my kids. Well, how did it work yesterday for Baker Mayfield?
It was working all right until that handoff. And things went downhill rapidly after that, and they lost at home to a rookie quarterback. So, yeah, maybe that pressure, that intensity walking around, maybe that's worth it if you win a couple playoff games. I don't know, though. You'd have to ask Baker.
Yeah, I only bring it up because, just think they lost.
What about those Steelers, Joe? Wouldn't you have rather been the Steelers over the last 10 years?
So, because the colors are black and yellow, what's the difference between the Steelers and the Bruins right now? Like, is Pasternak TJ Watt?
No, but I thought the Steelers were the model, Joe. I thought that's what. Remember the Steelers and the Broncos? That's what we were aspiring to be, the John Elway Broncos.
Heard about that, the Don, right?
Yeah, the Don. And then Mike Tomlin and his Steelers. How about this one, Joe, from everyone's friend Colin Cowherd? Not named in that lawsuit. Good guy, Colin Cowherd. 3 AFC teams haven't won in the last month. The Titans, who are drafting number 1 overall. The Browns, who are drafting number 2 overall. And Joe, the third AFC team that hasn't won a football game in over a month would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. But hey, they went to the playoffs, right? That's what you want to be.
And you know who they're going to get for a quarterback, right?
Aaron Rodgers.
Sam Darnold.
It's going to be Rodgers or Darnold. I think Rodgers, betting favorite right now, be Pittsburgh's next quarterback.
Do you think they should blow it up?
By blow it up, what do you mean? The roster?
Mike Tomlin.
I would say yes. I would say it's time. I think Mike Tomlin is a very good head coach,
I do too.
But it's the definition of insanity. You're doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for different results.
I give him a lot of credit because, man, think about some of the guys he's had over the years. Between Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown and, like, just...
Ben?
He's had some... oh, my God. He's had some personalities in there, right? Joey Porter. I mean, I'm just... He would be the hottest name on the market. Would you rather have Tomlin or Vrabel?
I mean, you'd have to say Tomlin. He's accomplished much more, way more winning seasons.
I think the only reason why I pushed was Vrabel coached by Tomlin, like position-wise at one point? No, it would have been too early, right? 01? Because Cowher would have been there. Can't even remember when... I'm actually curious if they've ever crossed paths. At least Tomlin's won championships, right? He knows how to identify good wide receivers. That's for sure. What's Topher thinking? Reading. Hi, Topher.
Hey, Joe.
What are you eating?
Actually, I'm just chewing gum right now.
Kind of gum.
What is it? Double mint? I don't know. Someone handed me a stick after I was at the coffee place.
So when I was growing up, Big League Chew was the big thing. And then it was Bubblicious, and then it was the gum by the foot. What was that? Bazooka by the foot?
Oh, fruit by no.
Yeah, it was like a bazooka, like a string. And
no, I remember Big League Chew was a string.
Ooh, Bubblicious. There was a lot.
I still remember.
There was a lot of gum options back in the day.
Hubba Bubba.
Yes. Do they still make? And this isn't gum, but do they still make Mambas?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've ever screwball ice cream?
Oh, like with the ice cream on top, and then the little gumball that was
gumball in the bottom,
basically runny by the end.
Yeah. Were you guys old enough for that, guys? Screwballs?
Bubble tape.
Bubble tape.
That
was the name.
Toolbox in the YouTube chat just called it.
Oh, what's up, YouTube chat people? Oh, Gonzo's Trident. That's another one. I was always an Altoid guy.
They're not bad. Very strong. Very strong mints.
I also liked Mentos, the fresh maker.
So I have a question, considering I leaked a photo to you earlier.
Yeah.
Have you tried a Wendy's breakfast sandwich yet?
I have not. What would be your ranking of sandwiches for fast food? Did we do this on your podcast?
We did, yeah.
What's the name of your podcast?
Boston Concessions, considering I'm in the room, and nobody in the YouTube chat now remembers who I am.
So people can go listen to that one on somewhere?
Oh, yeah, YouTube.
And we ranked a lot of things.
We did. We ranked.
I think we
ranked movies.
I think we did a Mount Rushmore of a-holes too.
Oh, the Mount Rushmore.
Skaz, you would have liked that one. Had like Vince McMahon on there, and it was like Bill Cosby, like influential a-holes.
Would you put Hulk Hogan on that now?
Yeah, probably. Really influential.
Oh, but so horrible, especially being booed on Raw and crying about it.
Yeah, but they're gonna end up making that like a heel turn or something.
He'll smack somebody.
Yeah, and then who knows what he does from there, you know?
So what do they say? It's all uphill from here?
Yep, it's all uphill from here. Who do you got winning the Super Bowl?
Detroit.
They have a good offensive coordinator. Heard about him?
If I can't see that, the one thing I'd love to see, and I had a thought of this, I'd love to see Baltimore versus Philly. You have to see both of the top-tier running backs of the league this year because they got snuffed by their previous teams, and now they're showing off of their current teams.
The year of the running back, huh?
I like it.
Thanks, Topher.
No problem, Joe. Anytime.
Appreciate you, bud. The running backs are back. Is that a fumble, guys? No? If anybody's watching the game right now. Did I tell you that I watched this Adam Sandler thing the other night? What else? I watched something else that was really good the other night. What was it? What the hell was it? Can't remember now. All right, well, why don't we do more Mike Vrabel and stuff like that? Hey, what? Oh, can we listen to what Teddy Bruschi had to say? Thought that was pretty good. We'll do that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't miss an action-packed weekend at the Mullins Center. This Saturday, the Minute Women tip off against St. Joseph's at noon. And
He didn't get that second year with all of those great things that this organization has with the cap space, the players, and the quarterback, okay? Vrabel is not Bill. I'll tell you that right now, all right? He is somewhere along that spectrum in between. I really believe that. If I were to compare Vrabes to any coaches that I've had in the past, and I played for some great ones, I would say he's more Bill Parcells-like than Bill Belichick because of the way that he can talk to players more on an even keel personal level. Okay, that's what I like about Vrabes. And I'm saying, and I'm talking about all the decision makers hoping they defer, but I think Vrabel has it in him to collaborate to a point.
All right, that's Teddy Bruschi. Now listen, I have talked with Ted Johnson recently of NBC Sports Boston. I actually texted him because his college coach passed away, and he always talked to me about how great he was, and I wanted to just send my condolences. But I will tell you this. I know that Mike Vrabel and Ted are really good friends. I'm sure that linebacking group back from 2001, off the top of my head, it was Pfeiffer and Johnson in the middle, and I believe the outside was Bruschi and Vrabel. Holy smokes, what a linebacking group, if you really... And then Willie McGinnis was like the elephant defensive end who could play linebacker. Man. Mike Vrabel, very happy to go to work today, huh? Had a nice suit. I wonder where he got that from. Should hook him up with my buddy Barry. Mr. Sid. Rob Gronkowski had something to say about Mike Vrabel. Let's hear that.
The New England Patriots got their guy this morning, and Patriot great Mike Vrabel. And let me tell you, Patriot fans are thrilled. This guy is going to keep everyone accountable in the organization, from the coaching staff to the players. He's going to keep himself accountable, and even the front office he's going to keep accountable. And let me tell you, once again, this guy has knowledge, he has the power, and he's going to be great. He knows how to discipline players. And if I'm Mike Vrabel, the first thing I would do is call up and dial up the number of Josh McDaniels, a familiar foe to Patriot fans, and hire him as the offensive coordinator as soon as possible.
I don't like that. You know what? If they brought Josh McDaniels in as like a passing game coordinator or something, I'm fine with that. Just having him around, I think, is fine. Running the offense, though, hand in hand with the development. Have we ever truly seen development from a Josh McDaniels? Actually, we have. Jimmy Garoppolo developed. I think they coached up Brissett to be an NFL starter. I know we can roll our eyes about it, but he could start games.
I think a lot of people point to Cam Newton and Mac Jones' first year, but Cam Newton is an MVP. He was washed, but those were run-heavy teams with very good offensive lines.
Yep.
And you had a washed Cam Newton, and he was serviceable
but
at times.
But I'm talking development.
Well, Mac Jones' first year
goes for about 1 year. No, but he developed over the year. But I'm talking about like multiple years. Like as far as development goes, I got Garoppolo, Brissett. I think Brady developed because he got his body in shape.
Well, that was also Weiss and those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys are responsible for Brady's development, no doubt. But it's true. Like, did Josh McDaniels really develop anybody? Jarrett Stidham? He's still in the league. But if they developed him, they wouldn't have never had Cam Newton.
Does he get credit for Brissett sticking around and being a quarterback all over the place?
He does, yeah. He does. The thing is Brissett, people thought he was the guy coming out of college.
He was a Parcells guy.
Yeah, exactly. But he was big dude who's athletic, who doesn't make mistakes. Perfect. And it sucks here because how many guys can you really look back at and say, yeah, they developed that guy? But they certainly developed some good coaches, according to Gonzo in chat. Kevin O'Connell, Zach Robinson, pretty good development. I don't even know if it was them.
No, that wasn't McDaniels.
Who was that?
That was the Washington. That was when all those guys were in Washington. Jay Gruden was there. LaFleur was there.
No. Kevin O'Connell was drafted by the Pats.
No, I know that, but Josh McDaniels doesn't get credit for his coaching. The coaching comes from when he was one of those guys in Washington.
John Gruden deserves the credit.
Jay Gruden, yeah, all those guys. But that was LaFleur, McVay, the guy in the Bengals. All those guys were in Washington at the same time. So,
and do you know who their coaching tree is? Andy Reid. Does Josh McDaniels have a coaching tree? Does Bill Belichick have a coaching
Chad O'Shea?
Okay, there you go. That's a good one. Ooh, is there really as far as offensive? Is Nick Caley considered one?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Let's throw him on the list. Let's be fair. Ooh, man, are there any?
Is Mike Vrabel from the Urban Meyer coaching tree?
Yeah, he mentioned it today. Yeah.
Do you think that's a coaching tree we need to look at?
Who else? I mean, Ryan Day.
Well, that's what I'm trying to think. Like Steve Adazio, is he an Urban Meyer guy?
I guess so. Jeez. Wow. Coaching trees are very interesting. Because I do think that when you really look back at it, Bill Walsh probably had a great coaching tree. Andy Reid had a great coaching tree.
So Urban Meyer is credited with Dan Mullen.
Okay, back in the league.
Kyle Whittingham.
Yep, yeah, he was at Notre Dame for a bit.
Jimbo's a Saban guy.
Oh,
I
that's
think.
right. Yeah.
Tom Herman.
Yeah, he had a good run with Houston. Was it? Still in the league.
Doc Holliday, who I'm unfamiliar with. Marshall, I think.
I keep bringing up Saban guys. D'Antonio, Charlie Strong.
Luke Fickell.
Okay.
Is an Urban Meyer guy.
And he credited that today. Vrabel did.
But those are all college coaches. I'm wondering if there's an Urban Meyer NFL coach other than Vrabel.
My God, that's a tough one. The Saban tree is out of control, huh? Wow. It really is bad, huh? Some of these trees are just terrible. But there are other guys. Yeah, they're all college guys, man. None of these guys could you say are, NFL bound guys. Coaching trees are interesting. Of the Belichick coaching tree, while we're on it, I think Brian Flores is a hit. I mean, he won a championship as a defensive coordinator. He head coached the Dolphins, and right now he's gotten the Vikings into the playoffs. So I look at that as a hit. I know Chad O'Shea's still in the league, right?
He was the Browns pass game coordinator last year, I believe.
Okay.
So he's a guy Vrabel has ties to.
And he was with Miami, too. Maybe we can do that later on this week. Look into the coaching trees. Because I mentioned this topic was always big. When I first got into radio, it was always who was going to be the successor to Bill Belichick, and you'd pull up the tree, right? And Bill O'Brien was the consensus. They had an opportunity to do that last year, guys. So again, this was my take earlier today. Gerard Mayo swept under the rug today. Literally swept under.
Not a mention.
No accountability at all. I feel the Patriots got lucky getting Mike Vrabel. They also wasted a year. They lost my season tickets. They lost me as a fan. They lost me. I bet you they lost others too. And I'm sure people are excited again that Mike Vrabel's back and Drake May and the money and the draft pick and all that. But they swept that thing right under the rug, man. And I think that they could have avoided it. It could have just been money. Oh, God, I hated this. The people were chirping at me this weekend. Oh. Joe, what are you, some kind of idiot? You didn't know that they had something in the contract? You could have bought his ass out. The succession plan. We talked to Karen Guregian about it earlier, right? The succession plan after Bill Belichick was Gerard Mayo. Think about that in hindsight. Think about that. If it was Josh McDaniels, at least you deal with it, right? It would have been better. If it was Bill O'Brien, just think of who they had on the staff last year they could have promoted. But they promoted Mayo. I know today is supposed to be about them hiring Mike Vrabel. It's hard for me to forget that they could have just done it last year. Sorry. I apologize. Not sorry.
Do you think that's them showing accountability, though, moving on from Mayo? I know they didn't say it today, but isn't that the accountability?
No, because they took out coaching in the stupid petty little thing.
Well, Jake just brought up a good point back here. It's that they've kind of told us, we're smarter than everybody else. That's why Mayo was hired before, all this, because we knew, because he was the guy. And them letting him go and bringing in Vrabel because of the outside noise, because of that pressure, it's not firsthand accountability, but I think that is them admitting their mistake, at least acknowledging it by moving on from Mayo and not, staying so strong-headed and, set in their ways that, no, we know better than you. They realize, no, we didn't. We couldn't possibly have, or else Mayo would still be here. They screwed it up. Now Vrabel's here. So is that them listening to the outside noise, acknowledging that they don't have all the answers?
Probably.
Is that me trying to give them maybe a little too much credit? Trying to give them any credit at all?
You know what's funny? I heard Felger today say, I don't want to pull a muscle in my shoulder reaching on one. And I go, whoa. Where'd you hear that one? Because I've been reaching.
He's always listening.
No.
Always.
I have been reaching on some takes lately.
I wanted more Felger on his Steelers and Packers today. I was a little disappointed.
Did we not get enough?
We got some of it, but not enough. Not enough. Sean McVay looking awful good right now.
Well, let's tell you the score right now in Sports Hub Headlines.
Sports Hub Headlines.
Sam Darnold seeing ghosts out there tonight. Rams lead 23-3, second quarter, 15 seconds left. But you know what, though? I'll be honest with you guys. I've seen this score before at halftime. I referenced the
you're going to win them. That's how Mike Vrabel works. That guy is going to have his team knowing the ins and outs. Now, if you're a player, come here. You need to keep your head on a swivel, okay? You need to understand that it is about to be really hard for a little bit, and it's going to be okay. But just know, you're about to go in hell for a little bit. You're going to be sitting there in the locker room. You're getting small groups. Who the is this guy? Why is he talking to us like this? Who does he think he is? Yeah, he played in the league, whatever. By the way, in that first team, he's going to tell you how many years he played in the league. And he's going to reference it forever. Not a bad thing. Boys, I'm telling you, it's going to work out. I was a part of it. I was in those small little groups at first, and then you start to get away from it. Like, yo, this dude knows what the he's talking about. But keep your hole tight in those team meeting rooms. You've got to keep your tight, because he's going to have guys stand up. Who's this guy? Who's that guy? People that are more prestigious in like the topper tier players, especially if you're a rookie. If you're watching this and you're in the combine right now and you get drafted by the Patriots, congratulations, but also keep your fucking head on a swivel now. You need to dial that thing in. He's going to have you stand up. Who's this guy? Who's that guy? Learn the janitor's name. Learn everybody.
Felger's great at his job. I love actually. I think believe it or not, I'll say this about he's hardest working guy in the business. Really has good takes, and I just
some good takes. You know, I hold that Steelers and Broncos one against him, but yeah.
But yeah, it's just somebody. It just makes me laugh because, like, has anyone ever heard a conversation between me and him?
I would say not exactly similar.
I don't think we are similar. He doesn't understand me. And then brings
the Joe
up
Murray cul-de-sac. Yes.
So the Joe Murray cul-de-sac is technically when Felger doesn't understand me.
It's more so when Felger doesn't like the answer you've provided him.
Even though he's asked me for
it.
Remember the time
opinion,
I asked for an opinion?
He doesn't want it.
And then he told me he didn't want my opinion?
One of my favorite drops.
I would like to make as much money as Mike Felger. That is something I would like. I would like a number one show for 15 years. That'd be pretty good.
No complaints.
We'd be rolling. We'd be rolling in the dough, bro. We'd be doing shit. You know me. Whenever I talk about vacation, what do I always talk about?
We wouldn't be getting Felger from the island. We'd be getting Joe from the island.
Joe with the umbrella in his drink. That's when I'm on vacation. It could be a iced tea. It could be an Arnold Palmer. I want a damn umbrella in my drink. All right, I'm getting off track. We have a fellow who wants to talk about coaching trees. Jimmy's in Newburyport. Hey, Jimmy.
I'm cracking up. I would love to make as much money as Felger, too. I'm Joe Murray, and I'm not part of the coaching tree. Oh, my God.
I'm not. Do you believe that?
Oh, my God. I'm cracking up.
Is there a radio coaching tree? Like who would take
I want to
credit
be
for the
part of the Fred Tutcher and the Joe Murray coaching tree.
Well, the Fred Tutcher coaching tree is done all right. Nick Gemelli, he's a star, right? You still with me, Jimmy? He hung up. Let's see. Joe Murray coaching tree, huh? Bryson?
Yeah, Bryson, big news this weekend. I won't spoil it for him. I don't know if he's publicly announced it yet, but our guy Bryson is moving up the ranks.
I mean, every intern we had has a job. We got to get Kevin a job at some point, who stopped in last week.
Good to see Kevin. The aura was back.
The aura was living.
He was teaching it. You know, Kevin coming in to help us out, too.
That's right. I know nothing about graphics. And thank you, Jake, for helping us out again tonight with graphics.
Doing great work.
You know, it's funny, all these shows, like when Mike Vrabel becomes the head coach, right? They make a graphic. Me, I don't know how to. So what I do?
We make them, Joe. They're just not very good.
Oh my God,
You should see the graphics me and Joe send back to each other during the day.
Suck.
Not great. We're learning. We're trying.
You know what you did though, which I give you credit for? You were like, "Well, looks good enough," and it did. It did look good enough.
Our only issue was the alignment. We had some alignment issues, but the content was in there.
Just like Mike Vrabel said, he's going to get everyone set up, right? That's the key this year. So Jake came in tonight and got us set up.
Had us in the right places.
Oh, jeez.
Joe, would you like an update from Adam Schefter?
Please.
Adam Schefter, a little while ago, tweeted, Deion Sanders and Jerry Jones have spoken about the Cowboys head coaching job. As Andrew Schultz reports, their talks are ongoing.
Let's talk it out for a minute. Deion Sanders becomes head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Is Shedeur, is he coaching Dak Prescott?
You'd have to think. I don't know how they get Shedeur. They don't have a top 5 pick.
But in a way, it's kind of like they separate each other, and I think that might be good. Does it suck for Colorado, or do you think they'll be fine?
Of course it sucks for Colorado.
No, but do you think, like...
They're not getting what they're getting with Dion from anyone else.
They're screwed.
Maybe Bieniemy goes there?
Went there. Ooh.
Just a guy, first alumni I could think of that's in coaching.
Ted Johnson.
Are you in the Jerry Trupiano coaching tree?
Mentor, Jerry Trupiano.
I think I'm in the Jeremy Conley coaching tree.
Well, I was going to say, there's like this, I could give you a name of where that started, but, we can do that off the air.
I'm in the Jeremy Conley, Sean Grandy coaching tree.
Okay, Sean Grandy. Well, I came from the Sean Grandy coaching tree of 1510 The Zone. Sean Grandy, Cedric Maxwell, they were the voice there. You ever hear him go quack, quack, quack?
Oh, yeah.
It's because the signal, we're going to go late, whatever. The signal was in the water. So you could hear 1510 on a boat like you couldn't believe, bro. But downtown Boston, it was really hard to kind of hear it, so he'd always yell quack, quack, quack because it was to the... But yes, that could be interesting. Is there a Jay Stu coaching tree? The Dale Arnold coaching tree? I consider my coaching tree Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Dave Williams.
Steve Williams.
Steve Williams. I apologize. It's been a while.
Sorry, Dave.
Sorry, Steve.
Sorry, Dave. Yeah. Is Jake part of the Zoe and Beetle coaching tree?
The Louth/Zone Beetle?
Yeah. There's a couple of them hanging around right now. Where do we find Kyle? George came from there, too.
George will be with you Friday night.
Tom came from there?
Tom Morgan. The overnights.
Yeah. Anyways, I do want to give Jake a shout out real quick because he posted a video of me yelling. And I posted it to the socials. And dude, I have more interaction tonight from people. Again, it's quiet down. Felger can't hold Joey's mic. You used to be very good. Now you're a cartoon character. What happened to you? Way more chill and entertaining. Joe Murray. I'll never forget when you filled in for Big Jim and Felger yelled at you, I don't care what you think. Yes. True story. Suspect, someone yelled at me. Dude, slow down, enjoy something. This is the dumbest, unintelligent rant regarding the situation. Jesus Christ, who has nothing to do with it, could have made that roster any better. Bro, chill. Like the interaction I have had tonight. Thank you. I want more of that. Oh, now people in the chat are just bringing up bad trees. Some people don't want to be part of those trees. You know what? Someone did say this. Why does Joe always yell? I actually am always like this.
I was going to say, I don't really think of you as a yeller at all, Joe. I wouldn't even say you're like a loud guy. I think it's just your voice.
It's my tone.
Yeah.
It's not even, dude, when I'm mad, I'm mad.
You're boisterous.
I've been mad before. With the freak out with the person dead in the casket, that still got me. I did freak out that night. Because embalm them.
Do your job.
Just embalm them, will you? I heard we have a special birthday on Thursday, so I'm going to tease that one for you. Thank you, Jake Seymour, helping us out tonight. Great job, sir. James Scaramuzzino, as always. I'm Joe Murray. This hour of the sports was brought to you by our good friends over at Valvolinus and Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandoilChange.com. Save 15% off your next drive through oil change at Valvolinus and Oil Change. Now people are bringing up every night host that's ever been on here. I'm Joe Murray. Talk to you guys tomorrow night at 6 o'clock on the Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.